we go. Hi, I'm Jamie Ruby, and welcome to Sci-Fi Vision Presents Fandom Access for November 26th with my co-hosts Karen Mull and AJ Grillo. And tonight we are going to have special guest Elizabeth Saunders, who plays Donna on From, who just showed up. So let me bring her on. Whoops, it's not connected yet. 1 second. They will need to connect their mic before you can add them to the stream. Okay.
Right,
technical issues. She must be having technical issues. So 1 minute, everybody, and then we'll bring her in.
All right. So we're going to have an interview with her and then go on and review the show and then do the rest of our regular schedule with Silo and Dune. Did you watch Dune, AJ?
I did.
There we go. Hello. Let me put you, I'm trying to get the right little thing here. There we go.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming.
I'm having my computer decided to go. You're welcome. Hello. Now I can see you.
You can see us. Okay. Well, hopefully the connection will stay.
It will come. My computer decided to shut off while I was on the room.
Yeah, I was talking one time to the Catalina, I can't think now tonight, and I completely lost power when I was talking to her from my old computer and lost it. So it happens. But hi, welcome. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Obviously, you've met me before. My co-hosts Karen and AJ. We'll ask you questions as well, and then we'll bring some from the chat. But welcome. Thank you. Now can finally talk about the finale. How very awesome it was. You can see now. Okay. I was making sure you're okay now.
No.
So the first thing I wanted to ask you, and I know you probably don't have an answer to this, but your opinion. I know how with the second group of people in this season, the group that came, they stopped tying people up and giving them their little spiel at the beginning. Do you think they're going to go back to that? Do you know if there's a reason? Because I think at least Acosta, they probably should have done that.
Thank you. I mean, I thought it was.
Okay, we lost your audio.
I think she's lagging behind.
Too.
Yeah.
And oh no.
We can hear you. We can see you now. You went out for a minute.
Okay, it's so weird. I'm so sorry about this.
That's okay.
What I was saying was, the rules of the game were set up, which is the choosing ceremony. Mm-hmm. And I thought about it, and because we hadn't revisited it in season 2 and 3, and I wonder if it's like in the cases where people have arrived, there's been such a high stakes situation that we've forgone it.
Yeah.
And that's all I can think. It's an opinion. I've never actually asked John and Jeff about it.
Well, that's fine. I would like them to bring it back though, because it seemed like so important, in the beginning. But
no, I know what you mean. Like, if there's a situation where it's not quite such high stakes, where there's emergencies, that we are dealing with all this stuff. That I'd love to see it too again.
Okay, great. Mm-hmm. All right, Karen.
Hi, Liz.
Hi.
Donna has always been one of my favorite characters. I love her kind of no nonsense approach to life in Fromville. Sometimes I think of Donna as the mayor of town. If Boyd's the sheriff, she's kind of the mayor. Other times I think of her as like a mom at Colony House, like looking after her flock there. And I wonder like how you think of Donna, or how you think Donna thinks of herself.
Well, I think of her as both those things, that she straddles both those tasks, really. I think as Donna, it's a good question. I think she sees it more as the maternal, but it's this really strong. It's a matriarchy. Like, it's not just a mom, that she's kind of working from a matriarchal place.
Right. And the mom is the boss, and you don't, mom's the dictator of the house usually, right? So Well, thanks. I mean, I think of her that way too, and maybe not someone who necessarily wanted to lead, but sort of is leading by default a little bit.
No, my thoughts on Donna. There's my cat behind me. Hello, I didn't realize he was there. I view it that Donna felt it's a necessity that she step up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think there's a bit of that in her personality, but I think losing her sister, who was the leader of the two of them, and I think given the background that John and I have spoken about, her coming from a survivalist family, matriarchal family, that she feels like she's obligated to step up.
Wow, we might have to hear more about that later, but thank you. AJ.
Welcome.
So a lot happened in season 3, and everybody has kind of been going through a lot. But Donna's kind of had to deal with everything because Boyd has to tells her everything, plus her own feelings about everything. And how much more do you think Donna can take before she finally snaps?
Oh, good question. My feeling with Donna is it takes a lot to make her snap. I think she will always get close to the snapping point and come back. That's not a word. I just made it up. That she comes back, like she's resilient. And my feeling on it is it will be something really, and I know nothing, but that something really unexpected will be the cracking point. But I don't know what it's going to be. No idea.
I know when I had talked to you last time, we had talked a bit about how she let Boyd torture Elgin. But my question is, if he couldn't go through with it, do you think she would have picked up and did what he did in order to, find Fatima? Assuming Sarah didn't step in, I'm just kind of curious.
Right.
Do you think she would have taken it that far?
I want to say no. I mean, we've seen her do things that would indicate she might when she's really when push comes to shove and she's really angry and in a way I think a bit panicked sometimes. But I think Donna would find it really difficult to go through because it's madness, really. For me, I didn't believe Boyd would follow through.
No, I didn't either.
Otherwise, I think if she thought Boyd would follow through, she would have stepped in. That's my belief. I'll be interested to see if in season 4 we have a little chat about that. But I don't know I think she might have taken a different tact. It would have been really big. Like, I don't think she'd be like, please tell, but
no, I know.
We know it won't be that with Donna. But yeah, for me, I don't think she would have.
That's good.
I kind of wonder. So Boyd, I mean, this was a moment like Boyd had a chance he had a choice, and he chose. I mean, was it the right thing? Was it the wrong thing? He made a choice that maybe Donna wouldn't have made.
Yeah.
And Father Khatri had said to him, you're not counseled him. I think that Donna also was not totally down with Boyd's decisions that he made about Sarah earlier in the show. And about Elgin is there a new sheriff in town? I wonder what Donna if Boyd loses the town, is Donna ready to step up and take over that role?
Ooh, that question has come up at different times for me. I think she'll step up if she has to step up. Again, I think it's that that feeling of obligation. But I think my Donna, if there's other people that are going to give it a go, she'll let them do it. Like Kenny. I don't feel Acosta. I think it. Yeah.
Please not Acosta. Please not Acosta.
I love what Sam Brown does with her, but Acosta has some work to do.
Hey,
To be fair, though, she was the only one not wanting to torture Elgin.
I know. I think nobody believed that he would actually do it. I did. I remember feeling that, like, even though I know what the script is and I know what's going to happen, that what we were doing was like, he's just going to scare him really badly.
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of us thought.
Yeah.
So how come nobody, after what happened with Sarah, why didn't Boyd or Donna make it a mandate and say, listen, if anybody else in town has voices telling them to do things that they find aren't good, tell somebody, okay? You're not alone in this.
Yeah.
And instead, we got Elgin hearing voices. We got this one, I mean, at least Jade's pretty open about his visions and everything. But I mean, had they stepped up and said, hey, people talk to us, maybe some of these things wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. And I see some fan comments about that at times about, not just telling people what you know, but it brings up a good point about discussing what is going on up here and what you're hearing. And it's an interesting question. I think that's a great question for John and Jeff. Like, how do we cope with that? Like, in a way, I don't know, it just makes me think about how we talk about people being upfront about mental illness, and yet at the same time, we don't, as a society, we say, let's talk about it, but we don't know how and we don't want to. I got kind of dark there, didn't I?
No, that was great.
Definitely true.
But to me, because there is so much about what our fears are, and what Jade was talking about. There's often things Jade's saying that I'm going, that just went over my head. I got to watch it again. But the energies and energy hanging about and coming back and cycles, and there's so much going on in our psyches, and I think they are playing with that in this show. So it would be interesting to sort of see what happens when we have to talk and how people cope with it.
Talking about that, I know the one time Sarah mentioned she thinks nightmares come to life and fears come to life, and whether that's what it is or not, obviously we don't know. But what's something that you're scared of that scares Liz, or that would end up there if you were there?
What would your monster be?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. What's your monster?
Don't say a clown.
Oh, okay. No. I've always said I'm afraid of liars. Like, I'm fearful of lying. I'm fearful, and I think I'm quite aware of that right now. Moral dilemma and lies, like, that's kind of nebulous, but so it's not a thing that I'm afraid of. It's an environment, a poisonous environment I'm afraid of, a mistrustful situation, something which essentially is what From Phil is.
It is, yeah.
But it's those things there. It's not, I mean, yeah, I'm afraid of mice. I am. But I don't think a show about scary mice is gonna do.
I don't know. I bet. Don't be surprised now. Now that you've said that, next season, John and Jeff, they're gonna put a big mouse in.
Yeah, and guess who's gonna get the fucking mouse, right? Now that I've said that.
I want to ask you a follow-up on that, because you said about distrust and stuff. Do you think, like, I keep thinking that no matter what happens, they have to tell people in a way about Fatima, because you don't want them distrusting and blaming each other, and because I'm afraid like they're going to start hurting each other because they're so worried there's a murderer among them. Do you agree with that? Do you feel like that? That's what I keep thinking.
I think that's definitely a possibility of something we have to cope with in season 4. Like I have no idea where it's going to go, but I think we've created quite a complicated little web there. A really beloved citizen who we've grown to know. Like Sarah, we hardly knew her when she did what she did, but we've come to see that, as Donna has said, like she's so beloved. And how do you cope with bringing that forth? So I think we will have to deal with that. I don't know what it looks like.
We'll find out, I guess, when it comes season 4.
Well, I'm all like, ooh, how are we gonna do? Because there's so many things we got to deal with now.
Yeah. All right, Karen, sorry.
Well, I could ask a ton of questions, but you want to take one from the chat because there's some really good ones in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was gonna put up. PM says, can you please? Oh, if your hands in your pockets, was it artistic expression or direction? I was gonna say somebody else asked about the pockets too. All City did asked about your pockets. Same thing.
Okay, the pockets. It's it is not an artistic decision or expression. It's certainly not direction. It's just the body language of Donna. Like, I don't know how it entered there. Some people just put their hands in their pockets, and like I was unaware of it until people started saying things, and then I went, "Oh, I do that."
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it, but you do. So.
But it is a character choice, but it's organic. It's an organic character choice. It's not something that was like, oh, Donna's going to put her hands in her pockets a lot. There's I think a protection mechanism of Donna's. But it's the way I work is like without sounding wanky, and it's not always the case in every role I do. Like some roles come from the outside in, but with Donna, I had a really strong sense of what, how she felt in her body. And that's all part of it, is that she's a little hunched and a little like just kind of, she's a little bulldog, right? And somewhere in there, the hands in the pockets happened.
Okay. Good.
But there's nothing there's no deeper meaning, nothing in there.
Like your hands in your pocket.
Occasional lint or mint.
All right. Okay, let's see. I'll pick a couple more, then you guys can. Let's see. Justin Field says, what is it like inhabiting the role of Donna? Do you feel like you're playing yourself or someone completely different from yourself? Does stepping into the role give you split personality? I was gonna say, I think as an actress, maybe you have a lot of that.
Give me a split personality. I already had one. No. I love inhabiting the role of Donna. She's an aspect of me. There's a side of me that is Donna-ish. I'm nowhere near as bold as her. I'm more compromising than her, although there's a side of me apparently that can be a bit bullshit, as my dad used to say. That I'd stand my ground and go, it's not that. But I find Donna really sort of freeing because she allows me to enter a place where I can be very firm and be a leader, which is not something that I'm as comfortable with in real life. So I've actually learned from her. I've learned things about myself.
I was going to say, do you feel more comfortable with it after playing her, though, or do you just realize that you aren't like that?
Sorry, can you ask that again?
No, I just meant you said that you're not as forward as that. I just wondered if you've become, I guess, more like that now that you've played it.
I think so. Yeah. But I've also found that, I've learned too, I think, because where I'm at in my life, just as the age I am and things shift, Donna's also sort of helped me explore that sense of when to pick your battles. I wouldn't pick all the same battles as Donna.
That's fair.
I'd go, oh, okay, that's for better, for worse. I'm not going to fight that one. But I think Donna can learn from me now that I say that. Like, I think Donna's also, there's also been ways that I've made, even though I'm given the lines I'm given and the situations, the way I approach a scene informs Donna. Like, am I coming in furious, fast and furious, or is this a moment that I'm going to put my foot down, but I'm going to be a little softer about it? So we both learn from each other, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
My cat's easily.
He's
like, bullshit. I call bullshit. Bye.
Also, he wants to know why Donna hasn't experienced any paranormal activity. I assume he means, or any of the crazy stuff that's going on.
No, why? I don't. You know what? I don't think there's any. I don't. There's always could be something in John's head, but I don't know why. But I have clocked that too. That, like, other than large group scenes where there's monsters everywhere, I'm not having any odd. That we know, like, nothing has come out, and I mean, other than monsters killed my sister, but she's never even spoken of having something pass through, experiencing something that doesn't make sense to her, and I'm curious about that.
Unless we find out she's just hiding it really well. Yes, that's a possibility, right?
Anything's a possibility, and as we read, every time we get a new script, there's always a what the fuck. Like every episode.
That's pretty much, I think, the description the show should be.
What the fuck?
In general, yes.
Exactly. And I go, and I love that now. Like I think I always loved it, but I kind of, at the beginning, I wanted to know more, and now I kind of enjoy that I don't know it, and we find out along the way. But I'm learning never to say never. Like, there could be something that I don't yet know about Donna.
Right.
Oh, I hope so. I hope there is, because, we hope there's a lot of seasons to go. And
oh, well, me too. I want to find out more about, what life before. And, there's a lot I want to know about Donna and explore.
Well, that's a good segue to my question. I wanted to ask, you mentioned having a backstory for Donna. Not every actor does that. Some always like a backstory, some never do. Even some of your colleagues that we've talked to this season do or don't do that. And so is that the way you like to work, with a backstory, or did you only do it for this show? Or
I tend to, okay, I'm a bit, again, I'm not like, I don't do a big backstory. There's jobs I've done, especially with theater, that I'll do more of that. But I work a lot in my head and my body, and sort of going, okay, this is what I think it is, and I start pulling it in. So I don't have a big detailed backstory, but I do have a sense of where she's come from. But also John gave me a little bit of a sense himself of, like, it was him that came up with the idea, not the idea, but he told me that he saw Donna as coming from a survivalist family, mother and 2 daughters. And so I've sort of riffed on that in my head when I need to. But a lot of it is in this show. Honestly, this cast is so great to work with. It's so wonderful to just come in and you get to play your scenes. And we all do work differently, but everybody arrives and brings it, which is great.
Now we know why Donna knows how to butcher a cow, because she's a survivalist.
So that's a good point.
That's right. Exactly. Now Liz doesn't know how to butcher a cow. Well, I've fixed it. There's someone over here. If you'd like a guy named Dale.
A cameo?
He wanted to just we wanted him to just pop in and say a quick hello.
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
Hello. Welcome.
Hello, Cliff.
Hello, how are you?
Hi.
Good, how are you?
Oh, thanks so much.
Oh.
And they're
Oh,
very,
there they are.
very small.
Why don't you put
I
it
think this is the perfect time to ask this Breezy Cares question. How is it working with your husband playing a character that was a bit troublesome for Donna?
A bit troublesome.
Yeah, more than a little bit.
It was a lot of fun. Actually, it was like it was a lot of fun.
Tell me about it.
We had it's easy to do, not because he's troublesome, but although no, it's yeah, I loved it.
Do you guys work together a lot, or was that a rare treat?
No, we rarely work together. We met on a show,
And then didn't work together until we did From.
yeah.
Oh wow.
We've been together 30 years.
Yeah, it was like 30 years later we did this.
Yeah.
It's good
Wow.
that you can work well together, even if you get to yell at him for his part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let
So
me ask you, Cliff, I was just gonna say, talk about, because I know I had talked to her a bit of, she was telling me, but talk about how they molded the face for the pool, how they kind of did that.
Right. So I got first they did my whole head. Then they realized that they wanted me to be half out. So then we did the half with this, I don't know, it's like a rubbery kind of, this rubber compound and then plaster and all that kind of stuff. And then they filmed me in this position, all that stuff. They filmed me doing stuff and they recorded my voice. And then they made the wall. They put the half face in and the fingers, and they were animatronic, remote controlled. I think it's called animatron. I don't know what it's called, but yeah, where they controlled it and all that. So that was all basically Harold and Liz and them were all acting with that. And then I think they just, because I've seen it. I have pictures of me beside it. But it was me, and all that movement, the eye movement and everything was what was happening there. But I think then they had filmed me as well. And I don't know if they also included that just to make it all match really well, but they did a number of different things. But basically the animatronics of it was there. I think you were saying that Harold found it very unsettling.
He did find it very unsettling. Yeah.
And you could see it in his acting. I mean, in a good way, he used that. Yeah.
I think we all found it unsettling.
Yeah.
Sorry, Karen, I didn't mean to cut you off before.
You're welcome.
I was going to say, and surely Liz, I mean, I don't know that I've seen a lot of like actors who are married, like play each other's death, maybe, right? Like Harold was unsettled. Probably you were unsettled also, right? It's a puppet of your husband.
It's interesting because I had seen it before. Like they showed me all the stuff. So I and Patrick, who does all our monsters, he'd shown me pictures, and so I was aware of what it looked like. And when I went up really close to it, when we weren't shooting, it was really unsettling. And what was most unsettling was his fingers, because they were his fingers. Like it was like the face looks like him, but the fingers I knew so well that I had a hard time reconciling that they weren't really his fingers. And that was really freaky.
Wow.
But it was so kind of, I was so engaged with Boyd. That was closer to me in a sense, but also there's something, this is where it goes, woo. it's so weird that I was glad that they'd shown it to me in advance, because I think if I'd walked into it, I actually would have just started laughing. So absurd.
Yeah.
So
That's what we see every day.
I will say I loved how Lizzie played that part, that scene when she came up, just because as much as I'm a pain in, you know, in everybody's butt and all that, but our characters go way back. And also Lizzie's lost a lot of colony house members, and here was one more. But we also had a kind of a unique relationship. I mean, imagine Donna does with everybody in the place, but you know, we did, and we have a kind of an understanding, even though, you know, she gripes about me and I gripe about her and everybody and all that. But I loved how she played it. I just thought it was. It said lots of many different things, but by her stillness, and you could just see the thoughts going on and all that. It was great.
also, it's just so, like, of all these things that have happened, this one is just so, like, not only is it weird, but it's like, it's weird, but it's broken. Like, was this it, like something? Did something mean for him to get stuck in the?
Oops! Oh, there's my meeting call.
I think it's the cat phoning to let us to get in. There,
Outside the window, yeah.
Don't let him in.
no, wait, there's a postman on the door, so it's fine.
I believe it was the same episode where they said Randall, you know, his scar is there to remind everybody in the daytime, you know, that, you know, because you can feel kind of comfortable in the day, and me being exposed like that, but Donna takes care of that. And also, I think it was respectful, Donna's respect to Dale by building the stones the next episode. But then that way, people don't have to be reminded. I mean, yes, the stones are a reminder, but they don't have to actually see the gore of what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my thought on that. Anyway, I'll check and see if the cat wants it.
Well, thank you for popping in.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Take it easy.
You too.
People in the chat
on
want to know his name. They want to know the cat's name. Susie.
Oh, that's Mo. Just Mo.
All right.
Oh, what a great name. AJ, you're so quiet because you can't get in behind me.
Yeah.
So now that the season has ended, are there any theories that you have that have been debunked, or do you still have some theories about what's going on that are still possible?
Ooh, there's so many theories out there, and there's so many, like, even my own have been debunked that I can't even remember what they were anymore. Sorry, you know what? I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know right now. They're in there somewhere. I'll remember them at like midnight. I'll phone you.
You said you wanted to know more about Donna's backstory, but what is there some part of the mystery, even if you don't remember what your theory was, is there something you're like dying to know? Or even if you enjoy it coming out slow and finding out as we go, is there something you're wondering?
I think it's not so much to do with Donna's story per se. I think I'm now, because of this last season where it's ended up, I'm really intrigued about finding out more about how this all began. Like what the origin of this whole nightmare town is.
Hopefully we'll get lots of more answers, lots of more.
I think
that's
we
good too, right?
Lots of more?
Lots of more. We'll get more answers. Let's see. Okay, that was. Do you have a Julie's asking? Do you have a favorite? You said you don't remember your theory, but do you have a favorite fan theory that plops into your head, or can you not think of that either?
Oh God, it's so hard. It's simply hard because there are so many.
Yeah.
And I have kind of cycled through a lot, and so it is hard to pick the ones. In a way, in season 1, I had more awareness of what I thought was new because things have been debunked. So and I'm not so up on what the latest ones are.
There's a lot. That's for sure. Danielle says, "What is your favorite scene that you filmed?"
Oh, I loved it. I mean, any scene with Boyd. I really loved the scene in that we shot in the police station this year with him and Cortion, where I found out about Fatima. The scene with Ricky in season 1 in the bar, where Donna realizes that he is going to be okay to take on the role of sheriff while Boyd's gone. And I did love to. I scared the hell out of me because it was that second scene I shot and was the monster story. So I have a soft spot for that just because it was the second scene I'd shot, and it was the first big scene I shot of the whole series, and like on day 2 kind of thing. So I was scared as hell doing it just as an actor coming into a new situation. So I have a soft spot. Robert Joy, the scene with Robert Joy where he's exploring
Or
Victor's room.
oh, in the room, yeah, in his bedroom.
Yeah.
That was an absolute pleasure to do. Like, it was, sometimes it's just so amazing to be the silent actor in the room and just watch and listen, especially to someone as good as Robert Joy. That was a beautiful day. I love that one. Yeah.
We have someone in the chat. Ant says Donna's best scene was when she shot out the wheels on the bus.
I did have a lot of fun doing that. That was awesome. I felt like I was awesome cool that day.
Donna handles guns probably almost more than Boyd. Like, you have a lot of scenes where you handle a gun.
Yeah.
Have you? I mean, you've had a long career, so you've probably not the first time you've handled a weapon on a show and had some.
You know what? I actually haven't had a lot of opportunities until recently, actually, handling firearms. Like I had. Sorry, I'm just. Really, I think my only experience with firearms prior to that was, really quick, like when I was young, second officer on the left with a gun, with a pistol. And I remember going to a shooting range and being shocked at how much I enjoyed it. I wasn't anticipating that. But actually handling a firearm, that was really new to me. So like I had to go off and really work at making it look like I wasn't holding a purse.
You gotta. No, that's good.
But I felt I did it. I felt good about it, and I enjoyed it a lot. Like I love that I get to do the work with the axes and the shotguns and whatever else they want to throw me. I'm happy to do it.
Side of beef.
Ask Boyd to borrow his gun more.
I will. I'll have to do
your gun. Let me ask you. Okay, this is actually Danielle's my cousin, and Lizzie. I just found out a couple days ago. Lizzie is 9, and she loves this show. I would have been scared out of my mind at that age, but Lizzie loves this show. But she wants to know what it's like to be on work in Colony House.
Oh, it's great. I love working in Colony House. I love what they've built. Like, it's an amazing set. I'm always nosing around in there, and I feel like it's my own house now. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Do you find something in there that we don't know about if you're going around looking at stuff?
You know what? Like, yes, and like nothing that I'm like, oh, this is a show thing, but I'm just like fascinated, and like I'm amazed by what our set design and set deck does, and I just love the home they've created, the history of that house, of what people have brought in, dragged in, left there, objects that belong to people who are now dead.
A lot of details. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. All City says, has Donna forgiven Randall?
No.
Is that not Donna's? Donna is not quick to forgive. I get the
No,
sense.
she's not.
No, but Randall has not earned his forgiveness yet.
He
True.
hasn't asked for it though either, to be fair.
No. He's still doing it. Like, I mean, Liz watches and goes, I feel sorry for him now. But Donna is like, she's not like I can see Donna forgiving Randall, but not yet.
Whoops.
Mm-hmm. Do you watch it every week?
Pardon?
You watch it every week? I guess you probably got it a little earlier than we did, maybe.
Well, I get screeners in advance, so I watch them in advance. But we do sit down and watch it every Sunday night. I do the live tweeting.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're on there.
Yeah. But no, we actually, like, everybody in our house likes it, so we watch it every Sunday.
It's a fun show.
And sing the theme song. Cliff, we all love the theme song. Cliff makes us, like, I will sometimes go, no, we can go through it now. I've heard it. And he's like, nope, we have to sing it. So we sit and sing Que Sera.
Oh, it's so creepy.
So you don't.
Love it.
So Donna hasn't forgiven Randall. How does she feel about Sarah?
About Sarah? I think she's got really mixed feelings about Sarah. I mean,
They might be about to change.
oh yeah. No, that will be interesting to go look at in season 4. It's interesting for me because, like, we haven't really had it. Avery and I have not had a lot of scenes together, and so there's still a lot to work out there. For, like, if you wanted to build on that relationship, there's still a lot I need to find out. Like, because I don't think Donna knows, like, she knows who she is, but she doesn't really know Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
More scenes. I don't know if you know the answer to this because this is a Cliff question, but Duran's asking about his theory channel. I'm not sure what I assume you know what he's referring to, or at least he would, but I don't know.
Oh, hi, Taryn. Cliff, do you have a theory channel that I don't know about? Oh, I bet it's about your pocket universe. Is it about the pocket universe, maybe?
Like the
Dale's string theory and all that.
Oh, jippers.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he had another. Let me see. I think he had another question. Oh, okay. He was asking before. He said, "Will we hear more of Cliff's theories now that he's off the show?" So I guess he just means, tell what your theories are." I guess.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I had some. No, because I'm just a fan, right? Like when I was the 3 seasons, I would read the scripts that I'm in, but I wouldn't look at any other scripts, and I'd ask, like, there might be the odd time I say, Liz, is there something here I should know about? But generally, it was all kind of, I knew what was going on. But because I like to be surprised watching the show, so I just watch it as a fan for the most part, other than the 8 episodes I was in, But no, I have. I did have some theories, but that was a while ago. I was looking online and somebody said, "Hey, does anybody else wear yellow?" And they show a picture of Boyd with
There's a lot of yellow.
and then they go Ethan, and then there's all these pictures of Ethan in his yellow shirt and all that, and they're going, Ethan, that's the guy in yellow is Ethan when he grows up.
Yeah, I think
heard that one. I
Well,
haven't heard that one.
And people look at every little thing.
Oh, I know.
The colors. They said yellow and blue. Blue means and all that. So they're looking at things like it's crazy. But
I love that people have responded this way, where that they've created theories and they're investigating, and I kind of go, wow, school should be that way. Because it's got everybody's imaginations going.
Yeah, you can go pretty deep into this show.
Yeah.
Karen and AJ, did you have something? I know I was doing all the ones in the chat. I know it.
No, you can go to the chat if you like.
Okay, I just don't want to not go
You
to
can go
let's see.
The chat is really active and people are.
Okay, let's see. This is a comment, I guess. This isn't a question. Julie says the scene where you broke down sobbing in front of a mirror was phenomenal. And the reactions to Tian Chen and Fatima's issues. You did a fantastic job showing how Donna falls apart. So there you go.
Thank you. Thank you very
And
much.
now I've got people saying they agree. So
Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. I was actually very nervous about that scene because it was 0 to 100 in 5 seconds.
It was a good scene. Let's
Thank
see.
you.
Johnny Utah says, do you think Boyd overreacted to a cost of shooting Nikki? There we go.
I think he did, but I think he's at the roof of his emotions already. Like he's on so on edge that it's an overreaction, but there's just so much sitting under there already that it makes sense to me.
Yeah. Right. I'm just looking at this and laughing. This is just a comment I want to put up because it's funny. Matt says he needs to call his theories concrete answers. That's awesome, Matt.
That's
That's great.
That is good.
Let me see. I'm not sure this one, if they mean like the thing on the pole or they just meant literally bring them home. I'm not sure what, because I assume you didn't take the piece of them or whatever. I'm not sure.
No, I didn't get to take. No, I had to bring the real one home. No, I thought it would be cool to have some of that set piece. Actually,
Put it up in your living room.
A little creepy, but a little bit creepy. Yeah.
Ant has a good question there.
Where I'm looking, I'm trying to find them. I'm losing them. Which one? If you see it, go ahead.
I got it.
Okay.
Oh, he just went away. How do you think Donna will approach season 4 after everything that happened? Will she stand by Boyd or will she join Acosta? If that's even a thing, Boyd versus, but
Ooh, I think it's early days to join Acosta. I don't know that she'll. It's a great question. I don't know that. I don't think she'll stand by Boyd, but I think that there should be a very a big sit down with Boyd and Donna, and that she really has to sit him down and say, this is not cool. This can't happen. But
I think they're interesting. You just mentioned that Boyd's like reached the limit almost of how much he can take, but Donna's been through like all of it with Boyd, right? She's been through almost equally. I mean, okay, she didn't have to like shoot her wife like he did, but she saw her sister torn apart. She's lost as many people. Nikki was probably a greater loss to Donna than she was to Boyd. Colony House, right? And like it's interesting to see like Boyd is having a very sort of public breakdown and Donna's having a very private breakdown, I think.
I agree. Yeah. And what we, for both characters, we have seen the past of, Boyd and his wife shooting we saw that scene and we see him talking to her at the graveside, but we don't see a lot of the history of Donna in that house. And I mean, what you just said about, I'm saying this because of what you said about Nikki, that all those people that live in that house, some have been there for months, some for many years. And so you are literally losing a family member.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think that's a lot. And I also too, I always think like, we think it's over all this time. This is all it's like with Kenny and his mom, and he loses his mom and his dad in like under 3 weeks. Like, it's torturous.
Do you know how long the actual full time period is? Or I don't know if you even know. I just was curious because you said that, because somebody had asked me that one. I don't know.
You know
like,
what?
It hasn't been that long, but
It's not been that long. Like, I don't know for sure. I had at one point knew somewhere in the second season. I think we must be around 3 weeks, maybe.
oh, total. I thought it was longer than that. Wow.
I don't think so. If it is, it's not. It's like
Not very long, yeah.
but it's not months. It's a very short amount of time.
We tend to forget that. I'm trying to see. I think there's a couple more in the chat. I know you probably have to get going pretty soon. It's getting late, but
we're for now.
Yeah. Johnny says, who's your favorite character? Can't be Donna or
So I think they meant right
I
Dale.
mean, that's Dale. Yeah.
Well, I have a lot of favorite characters, but I think because he's the most, it's a toss up between Victor and Jade, but they're both out. I mean, because it's so hard to muddle the act. You know, I muddle the actor with the character because they both do outstanding jobs. But I find Jade such an eccentric, anomalous character, and I find that a really sort of just delightfully obnoxious man.
Just in a good way, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to think. I think there was one other one. I lost it. Oh, how long had Dale and Donna been in town? I assume they mean before this. You said it's only been 3 weeks since the show, but before that, how long had they been there?
God, we'd worked it out. I think it's about 3 years. And Dale's been there longer than Donna.
Interesting. That I did not know. That's
2.5 to 3 years.
All right, let's see. PM says, what's your opinion on Boyd potentially sacrificing his soul for his son? I assume she means with the torture.
Ooh. I'd never thought of it as sacrificing his soul for his son. That's an interesting way of looking at it. PM philosophy. It's a hard one because my gut reaction is to go, is it ever worth sacrificing your soul for someone else? But as a parent, I would risk anything for my kids. But I don't know that Boyd is doing something that is going to be fruitful.
Yeah, that's true. I think a lot of people are saying they're surprised they thought you were there longer than Dale. I did too.
That's what we worked out. I do forget.
No, that's cool. I think most people thought Donna was there longer. So,
you know who knows? Cliff. Cliff will know better than me.
Yeah. I think I got everybody's. Do you guys have another question? Oh, there's your cat again.
Oh, here he comes. Not just the cat. Cliff. Who's been there longer, Dale or Donna? What did we work out? Well, you worked it out.
I thought it was roughly around the same time.
It is roughly around the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
But did we figure out one was there longer than the other? That Dale was okay. I'm wrong.
I mean, I don't.
We don't know. We don't know. We live in oblivion in this house. We have no.
How do you think you would do if you were in the town? Would you deal with it well?
I want to tell you, yes. I would muck through, but there would be some very bad moments.
That's pretty good. Jamie asks.
You know,
Jamie asks
Yeah.
everyone.
I think Liz has had the first time somebody has said that they'd actually make it through. I mean,
Yeah, Ricky said, or not Ricky, who said they'd kill themselves?
Nathan.
Oh, Nathan.
Nathan said he'd kill himself. Chloe said she wouldn't last long.
Everybody, you're the first one to say you'd make it.
I forget what Hannah said.
I don't know.
You know why?
Why?
Because I'm old compared to them.
Life experience.
I have made it through things.
That makes sense.
You know who'd do it? Actually, Cliff would do really well. He would do really well. He loves watching Survivor, and I'm always like, you do really well on Survivor. I would be tough,
You need
so
to try out for Survivor then.
they'd vote me off. I wouldn't be friends with anybody fast enough.
Oh. Plus, he'd have a theory and he'd figure it all out.
Actually,
Solve it faster than Boyd.
No, Cliff wouldn't. Dale would. Cliff is like really good at like going, I'm gonna build a thing. And then he'll go build it with old wood. So he'd be the guy that's everybody's like, we have shelter because of Cliff. We have fire because of Cliff. So he'd do well on Survivor and in the town. I would have some flippy moments probably.
Huh.
Yeah.
Right.
I've been asking everybody about were you a horror fan before you got on the show? Do you enjoy horror?
I do enjoy horror. I would say I'm a horror fan light. Like it's not an obsession, but I love a good horror story.
Good answer, because everybody here tonight is pretty much mostly horror fans. Actually, I'm the wimp of the group.
Oh, I'm a rip too. I usually do bad with torture. I'm like glad they didn't go further, or I would have been like, nope.
I'm not big on torture. Like I'm more psychological.
Yeah.
Horror.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's from. And then I've also been asking everybody about from his MGM's Top Show. It's getting a lot more widely known now that it's on Amazon, and it seems to have just really exploded. And how has that been with the fans? And can you still go down the street in your town?
Oh, yeah. Because I'm in Canada, so first of all, I don't think we're so spread out here. I don't think the show has caught on quite the same way here. Like I don't think the people know about it. It's not that people don't. The people who found it seem to love it, but I think it's less well known here. And I haven't been. It's been odd moments that I've been stopped, but not as much. And I know that everyone who lives in the States seems to have more interaction with fans on the street and the thing. But it was cool. I was in Dublin. I just got back from Ireland, and I was in Dublin, and on my first day there, I was sitting in a pub having lunch, and two Spanish girls came up and said, "Are you Donna?" That was really cool. Being in another country and being recognized by people from even another country.
Yeah, that's cool. Where were you when you found out about it being renewed? Just out of curiosity.
He's in the basement. He's like, you were in North Bay. That's You're in North Bay. And he is correct. I was in North Bay, Ontario. In a hotel. No, I was on set. I was on set doing another show. And I found out.
Well, we're very excited to get to see next season. But I know you've been here an hour. I appreciate it. Thank you for staying as long as you
It's
did.
been my pleasure.
Yeah. But thank you for coming. And
Thank
hopefully
you.
we'll talk again
Really
next
appreciate
season.
it, Liz. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. You guys have been great. Thank you.
Thank
We're
you.
gonna
You
work
tell
on
those guys to work fast, okay? We want those writers to.
Yeah, we don't want to wait till
I'm sure
2026.
they're already on it, but no, we can't wait. But we can't. You can't rush it. Well, I guess people do try to do that.
Yeah,
But
better if they don't. All right. Well, thank you so much. And tell your husband we said thank you too.
Yes, tell Cliff thanks for stopping in.
I will. Okay. Thanks,
All right.
you
Thanks
guys.
for sharing. Have a good well, you're Canadian. I was gonna say Thanksgiving. I guess it isn't Thanksgiving for you. Have a good Christmas then.
Okay, and you guys have a good Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
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 All right.
Clicker. There
Yeah,
she
there
goes.
we go. No, I was gonna say maybe take us. All right. Well,
It's so big. It comes up so
asking
big.
great questions. I was going to post I'm trying to figure out, this is different than on the iPad. I was going to post a link for my Discord here if I can figure out how to do it while you guys are talking. But that was great. I think that was a great conversation. If you came in the middle and you missed any of Liz's conversation with us, you can restream it from the YouTube page.
Jimmy, you have a separate interview that you did with Liz earlier.
Yeah, I had posted it on Sunday. Yes, there's a short interview I did for the junket with Liz if people want to see it, and all the other, a lot of the other cast, and that's all up on our YouTube page.
Subscribe and like.
Yes, please. If you're watching this from YouTube, please take a minute and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Yeah. And like I said, you can find all our other interviews on YouTube. And I would really love if you guys would join the Discord. If I could figure out how to freaking find an invite button when it's on the PC, it's different. I'll have to get it off my iPad. But anyway.
And do we have another one coming up?
Yes, tomorrow. Oh, I didn't even tell people, for people who haven't seen yet, because we did just post about it. Tomorrow at 6, right? 6 Eastern. Is Avery Conrad, who plays Sarah, is going to be here live, and we'll be taking your questions again. So make sure you guys, check it out. Come and ask us more questions. And thank you everybody for your great questions. We appreciate it, and your great comments. And yes, I'm trying to. I'll get the link while you guys are starting to discuss.
It's amazing luck with Avery. Like, people might remember that she had to postpone. She was supposed to be here 2 weeks ago, and now we get to get her right after she gouged out Elgin's eye. So
yeah,
it's a good time to do that, definitely. But we're going to be doing our from review and recap here in 1 second. I'm just getting this copy. If you want to change the picture while I'm trying to do this.
Hide the knives. You guys are you guys in the chat are just so much fun. Thanks so much for being with us. We're gonna jump in and review the show not in a deep dive format. We'll give it
not in a deep dive format.
More than an hour, probably, right? Before we also have to cover Silo and Dune tonight.
Yes.
So stick around if you want to hear.
There's my Discord link. I got it.
There's the Discord.
Yeah.
So we will take ourselves off the screen because
I'm going to post it again. You guys will see it pop up another time, but I'm doing that just because. Oh, wait, maybe I can't do that. It's giving me this long, weird redirection link. Okay, that's not great. Anyway, the link is in the YouTube chat, or you can ask on one of my social medias if you need the Discord link.
All right.
So I don't know. That didn't.
We're going to go to some.
Wait, I see. I can just go like that. I think we'll do it. Hold on. Go ahead. You guys go.
That's right. So I thought it was a pretty amazing season finale, although I wouldn't say that. I mean, would I say we got answers, or would I say we just got a whole bunch of new stuff thrown at us? I mean, we got a couple answers, right? But we got a lot of new stuff also.
Oh, here it is.
I think it was not the. I think it was a really good season finale, but I think the season 2 finale is still like like just a little bit up there, right? Like that cliffhanger was amazing with Tabitha going out the tower. But I thought this was a good episode. I enjoyed it, and I'm glad that we learned a lot of stuff. We didn't learn answers that will help anybody get home, I don't think, not yet. But it was pretty cool. AJ, thoughts?
Sorry,
He's
I
speechless.
Are you still there?
I accidentally muted myself. I don't know. Like, I had some problems at first. I mean, there was a lot of holy crap moments. I think we did get answers, but just posed new questions. At first, I didn't, I know Julie has been saying all along, she's like, oh, it's reincarnation. And I didn't know how I felt about that. And I didn't know how I felt about it once we determined that Tabitha, is in fact Miranda amongst other people. But then I realized the more I thought about it, it's kind of cool because it is reincarnation, but it's not, because whoever they are that promised them eternal life for sacrificing their children, they're like a genie. You know how like you always hear about genies, like they grant your wish, but there's always a caveat, you gotta, I want all the money in the world. And then the world economic structure collapses because you have all the money. And if they make new money, that becomes money, so there's always, so I feel like it is reincarnation, but it's not. It's reincarnation for those that sacrifice their children because they said you can live forever. They didn't say how they were going to live forever. They didn't tell them, oh, you're going to live forever, but you're going to do it in multiple lifetimes, And so I think that's kind of an interesting little twist on it. I also feel that might just be their way. Like, I don't know. See, I got a couple of ideas going here. And one of them is that I think the monsters are the other parents. And they get to live for each other as monsters.
Yeah. Well, they are the other parents. Maybe I'm misunderstanding what you're saying, but that was what I was going to say. Don't you mean that the ones that didn't sacrifice their children are the ones that are reincarnated? I assume that you said that backwards.
No, didn't you hear what
the monsters live forever, the creatures, but
right,
Jade and Tabitha are reincarnated because they didn't want to sacrifice their children. They keep coming back to try to fix it.
Yeah, but the monsters keep coming back.
But they said that their daughter was one of the children.
Yeah, because they were somebody else before. They were reincarnated. Jade and Tabitha.
Right, but their daughter was one of the children that was sacrificed.
Well, yeah, the daughter wasn't reincarnated. The daughter's dead.
I didn't say the daughter was. What I'm saying is, originally they sacrificed their daughter. At some point, they said, hey, this was a bad idea, and now they're reincarnated trying to stop it.
Okay, that is very interesting because you definitely take that different than I do. I take it that they tried to stop it.
By the way,
the whole thing was someone told them a story and everything. I take that they tried to stop it and weren't able to, that the other people sacrificed all the children, that they weren't down with it. That's how I took it.
She clearly says that one of the sacrificed children was their daughter.
No, yes. No, you're right. It totally was their daughter. But I'm saying I think that the townspeople sacrificed them. I don't think that their original people
but they
were
sacrificed
okay
their own.
That's why they're not monsters. Otherwise,
they sacrificed their own children. And I mean, you could be right. That could explain.
It could be either way.
But could be right though. It could be that they just took their daughter anyway. Like maybe they were going to, and they said, "No, wait,
I understood it.
We changed our mind."
And we're unable.
I think that their daughter was sacrificed, but like I took it that the town sacrificed all the children.
Right. That's what I took.
And it was like, and that Jade and Tabitha, whoever they were at the time, whether they changed their minds in the last minute, I don't know if they were against from the beginning or they changed their mind, but they didn't sacrifice their own daughter. Like it was like a mass thing, and they were they were powerless to stop it. I don't know that like we know or will ever know or it matters at what point they like changed their mind or whatever, but they didn't sacrifice her. The townspeople sacrificed all the children. And so that's why, so those people came back as monsters. Jade and Tabitha keep coming back as people.
Yeah, which is why I kind of think that shows they didn't sacrifice their own children. That's why they're not monsters.
Well, see, you guys seemed confused when we were texting that day because I said that's why, and that's why Smiley was reborn because
Well,
Yeah,
he was
technically,
killed.
Smiley was sort of a little bit of reincarnation in a way. That's true.
it's
Not the same,
reincarnation. It is.
That's yeah.
but it
Oh
is.
yeah.
And he became this. He was born as the same person, but he was definitely
Yeah.
reborn. Now let me quickly say what I think. I didn't get to say what I thought about it, but go ahead.
Since Carrie has this picture up, I just got to say, anybody else get Lost vibes? I mean, that's the painting on the wall. In
The hat. Yeah, that
The hatch
definitely
painting,
reminds me of that. But I was just gonna say what I thought of the show because I didn't get a chance. I really loved the finale. I think that this one was the better finale of the 3 seasons. So much happened. I don't understand people that say there weren't answers because there were tons. I even in my review made a list of all the answers we got, and there's quite a few. But yeah, I really love this. And even though we did get new answers or new questions, I think it's really cool that they told us really big chunks of the story. And I mean, they kind of have to if they're only going to have 5 seasons. That's what the writers wanted was 5 seasons because they're sort of moving in that direction. But the fact that we know, why they're monsters and kind of the idea of why. Now, whether or not that started the trap with the town, I don't know. But I think that's like a big part of it. It's a very big
Oh,
part
I think the trap of the town was already well. See, it says it created the tree. They didn't say which tree. Could it be the tree that's stopping people into getting there? But how does this town? Something had to have existed before the town.
Yeah.
Because
I tend to think it was a normal town, but I know a lot of people don't agree with that.
I think the hope. I think that their hope and the symbol and everything. I think it grew to be the bottle tree.
Yeah. Or to the tree in the middle of the road. Some people have said it could be the tree in the middle of the road, which it could be.
Which it could be, but this pocket universe or wherever we're in had to already be there because otherwise there was just some spot in the middle of America where this entity there was I don't know.
The truth is there was already an entity that was agreeing to make people immortal. So I shouldn't say it was a normal town. I don't know that the town trapped people back then.
Well,
it wasn't a normal town. That was the wrong way to say that.
I mean, I think it's clear that this has been going on for a lot longer than just since this maybe decades, maybe centuries. I mean, Tabitha was wearing like some sort of
right. I'm talking about since the children were sacrificed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this has been going on for like who knows how many times they've been reincarnated and how many cycles we've been through, right? We only heard about, she only remembered Miranda, but her childhood dreams were, I mean, this has been going on forever. So it's a tree in the road now to prevent cars, but I kind of believe that there may have been many different ways the town ensnared people before it was a tree in the road to stop your car. Because before that, people were maybe coming like, I mean, could people have, I don't know if you came on a horse or if you came by foot or right. I mean, like I think it's been going on since before 1904 when the car came out or whatever, right? So I think all that is still yet to be seen, what all that means, right? Except that we know that
a lot we don't know.
I mean, we know. And we know that the monsters, I mean, I'm with AJ, I think with pretty much everybody that they were promised eternal life, but what they got was like a, AJ, kind of what you described as like a monkey's paw situation.
Yes.
They got what you wish for. So
it's just like Dale poolside, right? I mean,
what?
I said it's like Dale. He's going to be poolside. We don't know that the town doesn't just like screw him with people. It's like, you want to live forever? Yeah, fine. We'll make sure
I mean, I don't know that this seems far more insidious
I think this
evil than like what appears to maybe be a little brighter stroke.
I also kind of wondered too, and I had said this on Sunday, but there's also the idea maybe we talk about like manifestation and stuff in this town. I also wonder if there's kind of maybe the idea that they wanted to become immortal and they were, but they were already monsters because they sacrificed their children. So maybe that's why they became what they were, if that makes sense. Like, I kind of wondered that. And I don't know that's the case. That was just something, I don't know. I thought.
Maybe, but they were told, according to Fatima, they were told if they sacrificed their children, they would have eternal life.
Yes.
They didn't just say maybe like let's try this and see if we get like somebody told them, and probably the man in yellow or somebody else told them.
I would assume maybe the man in
voices yellow. The voices told them this. I mean, it's interesting that the voices tried to get Sarah to sacrifice a child.
Yes.
Right? But
Mhm.
they didn't promise her eternal life. They promised her she would go home if she would sacrifice this child, which never happened. And Elgin was convinced to sacrifice a child in a different way, right?
Mhm.
So like the theme of child sacrifice maybe is bigger than this group of people wanting eternal life. Maybe they were able to be convinced, and like I don't know, I was mulling around in my head, is child sacrifice like an inherent thing of this place? And really I'm hanging that on the Sarah thing, that they tried to get her to sacrifice Ethan. And like, is that or was that just to mess with Tabitha because the town knows that Tabitha is Miranda? Or like, I don't really know, but I find that really the other attempts to sacrifice children are a thing that I don't know, is in my head right now.
Yeah.
It is terrible, and this is the thing that Ant is saying in the chat. The other people who are just in the wrong place at the wrong time. We've talked about that before. Like who's chosen, or who, are some of. There are other people having experiences besides Tabitha and Jade. I wonder.
Jade. You mean Jade? Or did you say Jade? And I thought you said
Other
Dave.
people besides Tabitha and Jade are also having
Okay,
these
I thought you said Dave.
experiences, right? Are they
Yeah.
also people Are they also, again with AJ, the reincarnation? For me, I'm not saying it's not reincarnation. I'm saying, like AJ, for me, that word is not adequate to describe what I feel is going on. But the idea of like being trapped in a cycle is kind of like are other people also cycling and were they part of the initial set? Are they like Jade and Tabitha? They opposed it and they just haven't remembered yet, or are they for other reasons being brought to the town?
Yeah.
We don't know. I'm just speaking out loud. No answer to that.
I think are they the only ones that are coming back and everything. But I do think that like they are. I was just going to say that we do know that they are mortal though. Like because we thought they could kill Smiley, and obviously they might just every time if one of them dies, just make somebody have another one.
Oh, I think that's what happens. Yeah, that's how they got eternal life. You can cremate them and they'll just be reborn. And the idea of reincarnation in like I don't study Buddhism or Hinduism, but like the idea of reincarnation is that your soul is reborn into another, could be a physical body, doesn't necessarily have to be a physical body depending upon what faith you practice, right?
Uh-huh.
And that it's also tied to karma, and that if you have a good life, you'll have a better life in your next life will be better, and if you are bad, your next life will be worse, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know a lot about reincarnation or anything either. But because that's what we were wondering too. Like, are they if talking about Jade and Tabitha, not about Smiley, but about Jade and Tabitha? Like, if somebody's reincarnated, are they reincarnated at birth? Could they just come into? Because then we started. Was asking people, do you think it's possible? Like, if they are reincarnated, could they just come into somebody's body, kind of like in Agatha? Like, you know how I'm forgetting his name now. The kid, how he a teen. That he just like took over that person's personality when he was brought back to life. Like, could it be something like, and even like that? I mean that is different, but it's an interesting idea.
It is interesting. I think that I did a little bit of reading on reincarnation, and I think it's generally thought of as being like coming into the person at the moment of birth. Like Tabitha had to be born and live from a baby to this point. Not that you can like enter a body in the. But I mean, who knows?
I just thought it kind of
this
an
isn't
interesting.
Agatha all along.
No, I just thought it was interesting.
No, and this also isn't like a lesson on like this show is, who knows how closely it follows any faith tradition or whatever, but. I know that tons of people out there in the From world were guessing that maybe it was reincarnation, and that it seemed, after last week's episode, that it was going to be kind of obvious. Not obvious, but that it seemed like it was going there after the Miranda memory incident last week. I don't know. I did feel like it sort of came back to them like kind of quickly. Like they go out to the tree, like after 10 episodes of like some stuff, the pacing being a little slow at some points. Like they figure everything out in this one episode, right? They figure out like I don't know why, like they figure out the numbers. Jim figures out that it's music. They play the song. Like the kid
Yeah,
comes out.
you said that. I was just going to put this up because it's related to that. He said if you add Tabby and Jade, that there's 12 different parents. I'm just saying that because of the answer being 12. That's why I put that up. That's kind of interesting.
Who would have 12 parents?
Of the ones that sacrifice their kids, I assume he means. Which I don't know. I didn't count them. I'm going to trust him on that. But I don't know if you guys know this. This is going around the internet, but they actually foreshadowed, like they do a lot of this stuff in the show, in a way what was going to happen. Because if you go back to the beginning of the first season, where well, not the beginning, I guess it was the middle of the first season, but where Jim is writing on the wall, he says something like joking, the answer is 12. And well, the answer kind of was. So it was interesting.
Why is the answer 12? Oh, because there were 12 notes.
It had to do with the musical scale, yeah. And obviously, that doesn't tell you anything, but it's just sort of a cool little, if you were paying attention thing, type of that. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. At any rate, I felt it all came together pretty quickly, suddenly in like a 15-minute sequence of the show. Like they suddenly figured it all out in the season finale.
Yeah, it did come together quickly. I'll agree that. It didn't bother me that it did, though. I mean, it's a season finale. That's tends to happen a lot. Like the end portion is kind of the wrap up. But I don't know. I was just glad that we got big answers. I mean, that's kind of was what I was glad that we found out important things.
Did we, except for the reincarnation bit, did we find out important things?
Yeah, I mean, we found out about the immortality, about the children being sacrificed, and I'm talking.
So I would not say immortality. I would not say that we definitely have immortality.
A form of immortality.
Yeah.
We know that they sacrificed their children for immortality. Whether they actually got true immortality is, up for debate, but that's why they sacrificed it. About the reincarnation, we know that one of the children belonged to Tabitha and Jade's original people, whatever you want to call them. They're the original ones that they were. We found out what Ankui means. We found out what the numbers in the bottle tree meant. We found out, obviously, Fatima's baby. We got to see the man in yellow. We know the man in yellow is different because he killed Jim in the middle of the day. So he's not a regular creature, or at least we're assuming. I guess it is possible the tree creatures can come out during the day, but they haven't. We also know who talked to Jim on the radio. We found out what Acosta's name, though I don't think is necessarily important, but we did find that out. And then the other things I've written down, which we don't actually know for sure, but things that were implied, is that Julie can't change the past. That was definitely an implication of the things that we've seen. Now, again, whether that's true or not, I don't know, but we've been told that. And also, we know now why Victor thinks Eloise is dead, which I don't think Eloise is dead, but we know why he thinks that.
Oh, right. He went to her grave. He found a body that he buried.
Yeah, he found pieces of his body. So, yeah, I think those are quite a few things. Like, are they all the big answers? Maybe not, but they're definitely answers. People were like, we're not getting anything. I think that's a pretty lot. It's more than I expected, at any rate. I feel like, personally.
I just don't
know. That's okay. I'm just saying I do.
Yeah. I guess I feel like not all of it is big and very little of it, like really, like most of it just leads to more questions.
Well, yeah, it definitely leads to more questions, but I mean, it's a season finale. They want you to come back. They're not going to wrap up everything.
Well, they didn't wrap up anything.
Yeah, no, it didn't. So yeah, thank you, PM. She's saying we have the best interviews. Thank you. Very appreciated. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the interviews. But I know we didn't get to there's some things in the chat I want to talk about. I know Papa Sock is talking. I'm going to put a star by it so we can when we get to that point, we'll talk about it. He's talking about Jim. But yeah, sorry, I got off track.
Let's try to organize our conversation.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying we weren't quite with Jim yet, but we'll get to that. I think some of the things that I have written down, where is it at? I lost what I was going to say. Don't listen to me. I'm nuts. I was surprised that Jim was the one that found everything out. Did that really surprise you guys? I mean, I guess it makes sense and like it's just kind of funny, but I definitely didn't think that he would be the one that
Really?
figured it out. Yeah,
I
it
mean,
wasn't set up that way. I mean, it makes sense, but like I wasn't expecting it.
did that surprise you, AJ? Since he's been utterly useless for like the entire AJ's muted.
I don't know. He disappeared. I
He's
don't
my-
know. I was surprised.
AJ,
Yes.
There you go.
did that
He's-
surprise you that Jim was providing
Oh yeah.
big
Oh,
solution?
that totally surprised me that he. Wait. Did what surprised me that he figured out the solution?
Yeah.
Not completely. Just because they were just talking it out. You know, I mean, how many? You know, I mean, we've done that. You know, where we're just talking about something, and you know, and I think that's all it was. I think they were just talking, and the idea just popped in his head. Sometimes that happens.
That's why more people need to have conversations, though. Like he knew
Well,
it.
yeah.
His mother was a music teacher or whatever. If he had talked to them sooner, he might have figured it out sooner. But he didn't listen to any. I mean,
Well, he couldn't talk to them sooner because he was always
telling them
dog.
things. He just wasn't listening.
But Jim's arc is very different from the town people don't talk. Jim's arc has been very much about.
I don't.
Let me finish my. Jim's arc has been very much about alienation from his wife and his family, and about going his own way and insisting, like, and not like Jim's arc is different from just like Fromville and on Lost and many shows like the plot relies on people not talking to each other, right? But Jim's arc has been very deliberately like not listening to his wife, discounting what she says, ignoring, being. Is he jealous of Jade? He's very hostile to Jade. Like his arc has put him in a place where he could not participate in any of that, right? And then it's not disputed that he's a smart guy. He's an engineer who like builds amusement parks, right? I mean, he's smart. He's just a jerk. In retrospect, it doesn't surprise me because I also think we agree that he's been like headed for death's door like the entire season, right? And like when it was suggested last week that he's being nice to his kid now, he's redeemed, he's going to die, and I was like, he's not redeemed, but now like now there really is no more use for him, right? Now he was nice, he died because he went back to being old stupid Jim who won't listen to Julie's like, it's really dangerous, we got to get back to town, and he doesn't listen to Julie. He doesn't even.
You think he had a chance to listen to her? To Julie, to Tabitha maybe, but to Julie, I feel like he didn't even get a chance. The man in yellow showed up before.
He turned around and tried to hit the man. Instead of running, he stood his ground and grabbed a stick and tried to hit him with a stick. Okay,
that's a good point. You're right. That's a good point.
He had every chance in the world to chase her to run when, once again, Jim doesn't listen and he gets his throat ripped out. So
no, that's true. That is true. And yes, I guess in retrospect, I'm not surprised. Like it made sense because they were sending him on that arc. I'm just saying, like in the scheme of things, I expected that maybe Jade would figure out, or maybe even Ethan. It seemed like maybe it was set up that would happen. Yeah.
I mean, is anybody really surprised that he died? AJ, you're not surprised that he died, right?
Good. AJ keeps muting himself.
I'll
say then. I'm not, until he comes back, I will say, I'm not surprised he died. I definitely think we talked about this. He was on a redemption arc. We know that when that happens, that means you're a goner. I mean, it's kind of like if Randall starts being really, really nice, we'll probably be saying the same thing. But I mean, to be fair, I did like what they did with Jim. Like I liked him more this last bit. He was a better husband, a better father. He was trying. I enjoyed the conversation he had with Ethan in the RV. I think that might have been the episode before. And it definitely felt like that it was heading that way. But I mean, I liked what they did. But yeah, he was a goner. I wasn't surprised at all by that.
He was a goner.
He was.
He was a goner.
Yeah, he was. Now let me put up what Papa Sox was saying, because I wanted to talk about this because I'm not sure. Did we have any of us have a feeling that Jim gained knowledge somewhere in the past, and that's why that man and y'all appeared to Jim? Maybe Jim made another type of deal. That's kind of interesting. Like I didn't even think about why he came there. I mean, I assumed that the man in yellow, what he's talking about with knowledge, I automatically assumed means what his wife's knowledge, which is why I'm not sure that it necessarily made sense that he killed Jim, other than the fact that he knows he can't technically kill Tabitha because she's going to come back if he does. But I don't know. What do you think about that?
You know, I was reading. So Vulture doesn't recap this show, but they did do like a post-season finale story about Jim's death yesterday, and the writer, you know, was asking questions like, okay, these same kind of questions, and like, so if Jim, like, was Jim killed just as like a punishment for solving that riddle, and does that maybe make the, you know, or was he punished for other reasons? Was it to hurt Tabitha, really? Like, was he killed to undermine Tabitha? Or if Jim really was a threat, like, why kill Jim now? Like, why not like
strange.
Like, why kill Jim at the RV at, like, if the man in yellow, why then? Why, and like, why not kill Tabitha and Jade? Maybe they can't be killed. We've speculated that certain people can't be touched, right? Although, I mean, they eventually do die. They keep getting reincarnated, but
well, that's why I said they couldn't kill Tabitha, so maybe they're like, that's the next.
Well, we don't know that. We're speculating.
Not that they couldn't kill her, that she would come back as somebody else, likely, in my thoughts, anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's a possibility, but yes, we don't know for sure. That
I'm not saying that I don't agree that could totally be the case, that for some reason they can't be touched, but we don't know it for a fact yet, right? But I think it's totally possible that maybe Tabitha and Jade can't be touched, and so killing Jim is. But why not?
I said that before, that I felt like there were certain people that can't be touched.
Karen, let me ask you then, because
why not Julie? Why not Ethan?
I don't know.
Right?
Let me ask you guys, because you sound like you're still not 100% down with reincarnation. Do you not then agree that if they killed Tabitha, she'd come back as somebody else? Or you not?
I think if Tabitha dies, she'll come back.
Right. That's why I'm saying maybe that's why the man in yellow killed Jim, because it's like, if we kill Tabitha, she'll just come back anyway. So what would be the point? So
because she would be delayed days, months, weeks, years trying to figure it out, right? They weren't going to figure it out until Jim figured it out, right? Who knows how long they could be stuck there.
Yeah, you know what? I just thought of something. They killed Miranda, so why can't they kill Tabitha? So I don't think people. My safe people theory is wrong.
We saw Smiley kill Miranda. Yeah,
that is true. That is true. I do want to ask too. Do you guys? I mean, I'll say I think this, because otherwise he brought up the house and like Tabitha digging in that, and obviously that happened a long time ago. I think the point of that was just to let him and us know that he was the voice on the radio. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it was to reveal to Jim that he's been watching him all along. Yeah. That they've been, you know. And
I'm not sure what good it did if he was going to kill Jim 2 seconds later, but to
mess with him in his final moments.
That's true. That's true.
The monsters enjoy being mean. It's an extra mean thing to do right before he dies. I think the monsters just like to be a little mean. Also, cruelty is definitely part of their MO. But why not kill? If the man in yellow can walk around and kill anyone at any time, why not kill Tabitha? I mean, so setting aside that there's a part where people have to be left because the monsters they'd like to kill people and they need something to do, right? And so man in yellow doesn't want to just wipe everybody out all the time. But why not kill Jade? And if Jade and Tabitha are a threat, why not kill them? Because it took like 40 years from Miranda's death for Tabitha to show up in town, right? Like,
so maybe they are
like Miranda and Christopher die, and it's like 40 years before they show up. So why not kill them? Why Jim and not those two? If he can go around and just slash somebody's throat at any time, like that's a big question for me. Why this person at this time?
Well, we don't know. Well, that's the thing. We don't know what his rules are.
Yeah.
Now, do you think he came because he wanted to kill Jim, or do you think the music made him come? I mean, I think at least the consensus with our panel was that the music probably brought him as well as the children. Do you agree with that? Because I don't know. I mean, it's not super clear.
I don't agree with that.
You don't agree with that. Then you think he came just because he was going after Jim?
I think he came in response to I don't think the music made him come. I think the return of Tabitha and Jade's memory was brought him, like alarmed him, required action to be taken.
Okay, that's fair. I just was curious. And also, Real Enigmas and Theories does make a good point, though, us talking about it takes 40 years. If they're immortal, that isn't very long to them, which I hadn't thought about.
No, but they still need, like, you know, I mean, like, they had 40 years of, like, trying. So that's a question now that I don't know if that's making me think now. Victor was alone for 40 years. Why did the tree not bring any people? Why did no new people come for all? Yeah. I mean, not 40 years, but for many, many, many years, right? Victor was alone for a long. Yeah, it happened before. I don't know how many years. He was alone for decades, right?
Yeah, I more was thinking about how did he survive. I never really thought about the fact they didn't bring. You're totally right. I'm just wondering why I didn't think about that till now.
Why did the town not bring anybody new?
Is there? I kind of wonder now that you say that. Like, is there something that has to happen to trigger it? I mean, now there's the theory that it could be because they were like it had to be Jade and Tabitha, like the ones that start the cycle again. I mean, there's that possibility, but. I don't know because it's still strange because there's so many people in the town.
There's also that weirdness that, you know, Tabitha and Jade arrived on Matthew's family and Jade's car, like, got into an accident. They arrived together on the same day. And, like, everybody in Fromville was like, God, I don't remember the last time we had two cars on the same day. That just never happens.
Well, Victor said it did. Yeah.
Like okay, maybe it hadn't never happened, but it rarely happens, right? And like those.
No, but I mean, Victor remembered it happening. I mean, it happened a long time ago, but I mean, he made a point of saying that about the car crash, and he had those toys of the cars that are not toys. I don't know if he had toys or he had.
So I don't really know what you're talking about because I don't really remember that. But are you saying that he said something that is counter to what I'm saying?
Before about two cars coming. I don't remember exactly what he said, but
I think he said it like never happened.
That it at least I think that starts the cycle over again. And that part might be partially conjecture, but I think something was said somewhere. I honestly don't remember exactly what it was, but something was said somewhere.
Yeah, what was said was, wow, that almost never happens.
No, I mean, something was said about the fact that it happened before is what I'm saying. Like, I remember Victor saying something about it. I don't remember what he said, but I remember.
You or someone in the chat is going to have to prove that to me. Sorry.
Yeah, we'd have to find it. But I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure that happened. I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying, though, about, like, it could just be that they found out, so he came to get Jim. But I'll tell you one thing, and I don't think it's the case, but I thought when I first saw this, like, for the very first time, the way they filmed the scene, like, you know how they had Boyd and Ellis and Kenny and them going down to the root cellar. It was, like, concurrent with Fatima having her baby and with what was going on with Jade and Tabitha. The way they filmed it, I at first thought, because they were having them play the music as the other scenes happened, I thought that opened the trap door, because it was really strange to me how that door just, like, suddenly opened for her to go, for the kimono woman to go down. So at first I thought maybe that was what the music was doing, which I don't think is the case. I'm just saying that was what I thought when I first saw it.
I didn't really.
I don't know. To me, it seemed strange the way it opened, but.
Yeah. I don't really know, but I did just look it up, and according to the people of Reddit, what Victor said was that the last time two cars arrived on the same day, he was around Ethan's age.
Okay, yeah. So it was a long time ago, but I knew he said something about it.
Well, he could mean his own car and Christopher's car.
Yeah. Which, if you think about it, again, is, like I said, it's Tabitha and Jade, it's Miranda and Christopher. I think that starts the whole thing all over again. I think that's like the beginning of it.
Well, maybe.
But, I mean, I don't know. That's a guess. I'm just saying I think that's what it is. Yeah.
I'm not paying attention to what I'm supposed to be doing with these pictures here. I mean, I think it also remains to be seen if they're the only people who are cycling in the town, because I don't think they are.
No, I don't. You mean like coming back, like reincarnation, or just going like cycle in general?
Well, you call it reincarnation. I call it a cycle of past lives or whatever. But I think they're not the only people that. I think it's not proven yet that they're the only two people.
Yeah, I question, could there be others? I definitely think everything's cyclical in this town, but actually coming back, I don't know. It seems like it may just be them, but it could not. That's not a given, though. I agree with you there. It's not 100% given. So I do want to mention, before we go on to the other characters, there is one other thing I want to mention about these characters.
Yeah.
And I said this Sunday night, but it makes me, keep wondering this. Like the whole season, I think a lot of people have thought that the numbers in the bottles were dates. I mean, we've talked about this, and thought that, Boyd had the number that was in the bottle tree in his pocket, and that's why he went to that time. And that was kind of like a big theory, right?
Mm-hmm.
The number in Boyd's pocket corresponds to one of the numbers in Tabitha's dream when she was in the tower, right?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wonder if the fact that it was like that he had that number in his pocket, that it's possible that is what made him go then, but that it's a coincidence that it was also a number in the bottle. Like, I mean, like obviously written in is a purposeful coincidence, but I mean that like the fact that it was in the bottle was irrelevant, but the fact that it was a date in that tower was important. Does that make sense what I'm saying? I don't know. I just keep saying this because I keep thinking it. And I wonder that could still be a possibility, that's why he traveled the way he did. Now, why Julie traveled the time she did, I have no clue. But I wonder if it could be something about that. Yeah, Real Enigmas and Siri saying the tower numbers could still be dates. And that's kind of my point. Like, I think that it was a red herring that the numbers were in both. I don't think that it had anything to do with the bottle tree, but
I think the whole thing with this song is ludicrous. And the idea that somebody broke up the song into 4-note little stanzas, right? And then put each 4 notes into a bottle and tied them into a tree. And that somebody somehow, like that whole part where Jade is like screaming and like, we're not getting it. This is like, he's right. This is so ridiculous. And like, as a way to do whatever, I don't know what the point is. And then Jade's like, oh, so when Jim figures out their notes, then Jade's like, well, this one would be this. And within one instant, he remembers the song.
It was strange that he did. Is it possible the bottle thing is more of a self-fulfilling prophecy? Like Miranda had a vision of the bottles, right? And she created the bottle tree in her town because she made it. Maybe she went to the Fromville. Like we talk about, Jade was making his bottle tree to help him think through it. And I think the bartender said something like, maybe it was just somebody trying to figure things out. Like maybe Miranda went to Fromville and created the bottle tree because she had a vision of the bottle tree. I don't know. I'm just like kind of thinking out loud that would be kind of interesting. If maybe that was the whole reason, and like there never was anything, like she saw it and maybe it was like nothing to do with any. I don't know. That's just an idea.
I don't know. It was all little like the part where he remembers that it was a lullaby they sang their kids, like that part I'm cool with. That makes sense, but that
how he came up with it,
is crazy. And that, so these kids also like they're going around saying Ankui, which
means remember.
Means remember, yeah.
It means remember.
How does it mean remember? Like, is it a different language? That's the other question.
Could Jade and Tabitha's original people that sacrificed, could that have been like an indigenous group that spoke a language that
could be,
that is forgotten by at least them? And by the internet, because it doesn't come up as a word in any
or because they're making up a language, which is also possible. But yes,
I agree with it could it have been like, although they're dressed like, they're not dressed like children who, I mean, they're dressed like, is that kind of weirdly Victorian? That dress is not like, if they're the children who were sacrificed, they're all dressed in kind of similar clothing, right? So does that show? I don't know. We're getting way too down this rabbit hole of stuff
Yeah.
that we can't figure out and that we're not gonna.
Yeah.
We have so
Matt
much to talk about.
I was just gonna say Matt agrees with what you said though, because he said there was no way to figure out the tune in that amount of time. You need to find groups of numbers that repeat, and Jade just basically used magic. He's right. He just figured it out. I agree with that.
It wasn't magic; it was his memory.
Yeah, but I mean, how
But
did
that he picks up just the right 3 pieces of paper.
Yeah,
that are 12 notes that bring it all back to him.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's not something that like irritated me, like he shouldn't have been able to, but if you think about it and break it down, it's a little too easy, I guess.
Yeah, but it's one of those. It's like who It's like when we watch 24, you get across to LA in an hour.
For me, it was just too easy after 10 episodes that kind of dragged in the middle.
Yeah, and Papa Socks is right. It's like Jim said that too. You shouldn't be able to do this. I mean, who knows? Maybe the bad entities. I mean, for that could be foreshadowing. Maybe the bad entities gave him it to him because they wanted him to remember for some reason. That's also a possibility. So many things.
That was the smartest thing Jim ever said on the show, Papa, and then he was dead 5 minutes later.
Yeah, he's like, "Don't play this music." Yeah. Well, although I don't know, I think the fact that they remembered wasn't necessarily a bad thing. I think it was a good thing, other than the fact Jim got killed. So,
well, some would argue that's a good thing that Jim got killed.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was just thinking.
Yeah,
a bad thing. Now, before we move on from the characters, the other thing I want to mention, because we were talking about
these characters.
From these characters, sorry, yes, from Tabitha and Jim. Unless you guys have more from them, what I wanted to ask you guys, because people are talking about this and it's kind of funny. I don't know that they'll mention it or not, but they keep saying she has 3 husbands, because the fact that Jim's gone, but like Jade was her husband and Henry was her husband. Like, is that awkward now? I think it's funny. Well, and if you think about it, it's kind of like, yeah, maybe it would be. I don't know. I don't know that they'll go there, but
Jim definitely had a reaction to that when she.
No, but I mean Tabitha now being around both like people who used to be her husband.
It's definitely I don't think it's gonna be that weird with Jade because they already have a relationship. Yeah. I think it's definitely gonna be weird around Henry.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, I was married to you, kind of, sort of.
But I don't feel like yes, I was married to you, but I don't feel like she really was. Like they're new people with new. It's not like the same personality.
No, they're new people, but she might get memories of it. I mean, if she has memories of Miranda, she could remember.
What, like on the Ark when they had a fake memory of like being together for 8 years?
It's just an odd situation. No. I don't think they'll really delve into it. I just think it's funny.
I think they might with Henry a little bit because I think Tabitha might like go to Henry. Like say, if she has more memories of of Miranda, she might go to Henry and be like, "Hey, I just want you to know, blah 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 blah." Like, I think they're definitely going to touch on that. Yeah. The word's definitely going to get around, and Henry's going to be like, "You were my wife? What? Wait, what? Huh?" So
I think that it's also setting up for a ship between her and Jade. Maybe like I think that.
Jade's gay.
It seems like they might be saying we don't know that. That is like a point of contention, in my opinion. We do not know for sure that he was his boyfriend. It was never said.
Yes, we do.
He said his friend Toby. He never said it was his boyfriend. Besides, he could be bisexual. That doesn't mean that he couldn't.
Fair enough. He could be bi.
Oh my God. I'm just saying.
I feel matter. Like they are not the same.
If they're not doing that, I think that they're setting it up. So even if they don't have a relationship, that fans will want them to. Let's put it that way. I think that they're pushing it a little bit with that idea. Is that better?
Look, it doesn't matter. They are not.
I don't care. They don't need to be. I'm just saying that's what
they're not the same people. It's not like
they're not.
It's like when Doctor Who regenerates, he gets a whole new personality. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, kind of is like that. You're right. That's a good point.
That's what I think it is. I don't think they're totally gonna be like, "Oh, we're married, we're back together again, yay!"
No, I don't. Yeah, I'm just saying. I think that I think that because there are people that liked them together, I think that they'll like kind of play with that a little bit. Not.
I don't think
not every relationship has to have a romantic entanglement.
And I'm saying I don't even know that I want them to be. I'm just saying I think that that's where it's maybe going to kind of hint that it could be possible.
What I think would be interesting about it would be for Henry to have endless questions about Miranda's life after he lost her, and for her to be like, "I'm unable to answer that for you either because I can't remember it or because this is really unhealthy." I can see that kind of scenario playing out where Henry has a lot of questions about.
Yes. That's exactly what I was saying before.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah. I can
All
see
right.
that. All right, let's
Okay.
move this along and talk.
I
As
think
long
we're
as
done
we've
with
been,
Jim and
as long as we've been talking about the Matthewses and their messed up family, let's talk about Julie. Julie makes another bad decision in that she keeps going to Ethan for advice, although he gives her good advice this time, right?
He gave her good advice last time too.
Look, he's wearing a yellow shirt in that picture, you guys.
Yeah, I know. Hey, we've gone down this rabbit hole, so I can't say anything about that. We have gone down this rabbit hole. There is a lot of yellow in this show, but yeah, I think that this is definitely the point of that scene is to say what happened happened. Now that doesn't mean that he's right, but I think that that's what it's implying. And obviously, since she can't save her father, he might be right.
I have one problem with. I like the what happened happened. I'm good with that. Like, you know, you can see the story, but you can't change it. I'm good with that. However, there is a hole in that problem. If what happened happened, how did she throw the rope down to Boyd? If
Because she was always meant to throw the rope. It was always going to happen. I think it's that kind of
spectator.
That's a plot hole.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know. I've seen them do that before in other shows, so that doesn't bother me.
Because she's a spectator. Because as Ethan tells her, you're a spectator. You're seeing the story, but you can't change the story.
You can't change it. But if she was always going to throw down that rope, like a closed loop paradox, if she was always going to throw that rope, then she didn't change it. Yeah, and yes, I know that's kind of an excuse, but I'm just saying that's how I look at it.
That one's a little problematic.
A closed loop paradox is a gigantic pain in the ass.
Yes, I'm not saying it's not a lot of times, but I'm just saying like that's how I view it. That it makes sense to be. Is it? I don't know. That's just the way I look at it. I look at it. He was always going to throw that rope so he could get out.
On Lost, the Losties that went back in time, they didn't change anything because they were they were actually there and interacted. They weren't just seeing the story. So whatever they did had already happened because they, had already been there and everything.
And well, yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
Julie, it's very different.
There, it's different because she wasn't physically there too, which makes a big difference, and she interacted. So
So what I really liked about this part of the story was when Ethan says to her, "Oh, you're a story walker," and she's like, "What's that?" And he's like, "Oh, you can like visit the story, but you can't." Then he says, "Well, you can't change a story once it's written." And I really liked that. I have not really. People keep talking about time travel, and like we push back because. Isn't really time travel. Julie, her body goes into like a seizure and she travels, but like, is she in two places at the same time? Is she right? Like there's this
astral projection.
I really like that they gave us the word story walking, which for me is a good kind of replacement for the word time travel, just because I don't really feel like
time travel.
It's not time travel as we understand it.
Yeah.
It's more than a little different because she's not getting in a TARDIS and going visit another, right?
Very true. Let me tell you guys the one thing too we had this other discussion about. Now, a lot of people think, and I don't want to go too deep into this because I know this wasn't even in this episode. Hey, Scarlett, welcome.
Hi, Scarlett.
Sorry that you missed the interview, but you of course can restream it. You know how everybody says, Martin is somebody else and it's become a joke, but Martin is everybody. Okay. There's a lot of people that think Martin is Ethan. And we were having this discussion and I thought of while we were talking about it kind of came to me the idea, if that's the case, and I'm not saying it is the case. I'm not saying I even necessarily think it's the case, but Ethan makes a point that you can't change the story once it's been written. Okay. And I think back, you guys will understand what I'm talking about. I can't remember exactly what happened, but do you remember with the Doctor and River's song, when they had the book that River wrote and she found out about her arm being broken or whatever, that he couldn't stop it from happening, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Because it already happened. And as soon as she knew it happened, it had to happen. So is it a possibility that could be Ethan and that is why he is saying he's Martin? Because if he knows the future but doesn't tell it to her, then maybe there's a possibility she can alter it because she doesn't know it yet. That was just kind of my weird idea. So
I get what you're saying, but
because it's an interesting thought.
I get what you're saying. I think the whole.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
The whole Martin thing's a problem for another day.
yeah, I know. I said that wasn't even in this episode, so I don't want to go too deep into that. But
I want to know how far ahead Julie's coming back from.
Mm-hmm.
And her hair is cut.
It so long because she obviously waited a period of time. If her hair is different, I mean, they're implying that with her
And
hair.
it's dyed. She dyed it, right? It looks like somebody arrived with a
Yeah, it's definitely darker.
hair dye in their car.
So the question is, why did she wait to try to save her father? Could she not go back? Like maybe she goes to the ruins and it doesn't work.
Okay, but she doesn't control where she goes.
So maybe she went and tried more than once.
Or she does not yet control where she goes. As far like she passes out and then she shows up in a dungeon. She didn't, right?
Yeah.
Like, she didn't say like, "Oh, let me please go to the dungeon." But maybe she will learn that. Maybe she and we don't know where she came running from, right? She comes running and says, "Dad, I think this is when it happens." So
at any rate, she knew he was dead and she came back to fix it, whether it took her for a long time or not.
Yeah. I was reading Eric Kane today and he suggested that if Julie knew her father, she should have saying, "Dad, it's dangerous to go to town." What she should have done is said, "Help, help," and kept running, and Jim would surely have followed her.
Oh, that's true. That is quite true. Because he I forget who it was earlier in the chat told me that he wasn't going to leave her there.
But she couldn't do that because Jim had to die.
Yeah,
she can't change the story.
Because what happened, and Jim has to die. She can't change the story. But she's clearly trying to, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, she clearly does not listen to the rules.
Well,
but
I just don't know how to say that. Marjoram, aka Scarlet, says Julie
Marjoram.
can't change the story. His story walking has limitations.
No, you're right. She can't change the story. Ethan told her that, and all of us, I mean, I think a lot of us believe that also. You can't. First of all, anybody who watched Lost, oh my God, how many times for years AJ was like, "No, Karen, what happened happened."
I know, we always have a conversation. No, I agree, but I am trying
to say it like that.
Suggested casual loop. I am looking up about casual loop with time travel.
Causal loop. It's a causal loop, not casual.
Causal loop. What did I say?
Casual.
You said casual.
I meant causal. I'm talking about 20 things at once. That's the problem. Yes, causal.
So we should just follow this scene to its end where the man in yellow shows up, which great costume. And I pulled up a picture of the picture.
Yeah.
So we could see what he looked like when Miranda painted him. So interesting that Miranda
he does not have a scar on his face. So many people that saw the stuff kept saying he was going to be Randall. He's not Randall. Get over it. Sorry.
Well, he has like a line on the left side of his face in that picture.
In the picture, but in the photograph, he doesn't. There's no. I think that's just supposed to be like a shadow.
He doesn't.
No, because they did show the other side.
It doesn't mean that like Miranda is recalling. So what Miranda painted is memories of what she saw in her previous lives, right?
Matt says a casual loop is when Julie kind of strolls up to Jim and just says, "Hey." Yes, you are right. That is a casual loop.
Matt Gilbert, you are so funny.
Yeah.
But he shows up. He's he actually is wearing a different shirt than in this painting.
It's from her memory. So
it's from her memory. It's from her repressed. It's from her repressed past life memory. So I get it. It's not going to be perfect, right? So yeah, he can come out in the daytime. He doesn't have exaggerated feet. Like a lot of the monsters have exaggerated. Like Smiley is exaggerate him. Some of them
he's something else.
Yeah, I think he may be what made them immortal. I mean, I am subscribing to that theory. But
who just pointed out in the chat that he calls Jim Teacup?
Does he?
He does.
Yes, he does.
I noticed that. I forgot the exact line, but I noticed it in the show.
I definitely didn't hear that.
And in the chat, someone has the chat is scrolling so fast that I get away from it. I can't remember who. I gotta scroll back. But he does.
No, I missed that. Is that implying it's Jade, or do you think that's just kind of a little thing?
A funny little pet name, a funny little joke name.
I think it's because it could be because Jade called him Teacup.
Yeah, I could just be saying
because Jade called him Teacup.
Yeah.
Just showing that he knew what
was going
on or whatever. Yeah.
Now, some people have said his eyes are black.
Yes.
I think, and other people think, it's kind of, I've seen both things, that it's the lighting. I don't know. Do you think his eyes were purposely black?
They look fully black there.
They
In the
do there.
painting, they're not.
Yeah, I kind of think it was just because it was a dark scene, but I could be wrong.
Whatever.
Oh.
They're super creepy. They're the only thing that's kind of like not normal. He appears like more normal human than the other monsters. He's definitely something different, right?
Yeah.
And then he rips Jim's throat out, which was kind of awesome. Good way to die. I mean, a good screen death, right? And not something you're coming back from. There's no scene next season where they're like, "Oh, we have to save Jim." Christy,
Yeah, there better not be.
broke back up. He's gone.
Yeah.
Goner than gone.
Yeah.
So that was
Okay.
kind of, I mean, I think that a lot of people in the fandom were predicting that this guy would show up before the end of the season.
Yeah.
And they got there. We didn't get really an answer who he is. He's the voice he's the voice. He
Yes,
probably
he's
is the
the
voice of
radio.
Thomas, right?
Could be.
And if he's both Thomas and the guy that was like, Jim, your wife's been in that hole, like he's been screwing with Jim since the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not, well, I guess he could still be the voice of Thomas, but the actor clearly isn't the voice of Thomas.
no, but the man in
Character,
yellow, the man in
yes.
yellow is it. Maybe he's all the voices.
Could be.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he's everything that's not the monsters, right? But he,
Mm.
like,
Sorry,
when
I just Papa saw. Sorry, I don't want to cut you off. I was just gonna say I just saw that, and he said maybe he's what was walking around the cabin. I assume he means the cabins.
huts, the little huts, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Maybe.
interesting. I had not thought of that actually. At least I don't think I thought of that before. I don't remember thinking it, but that's an interesting thought.
I just thought when he said like, "Oh, Jim, your wife shouldn't have dug that hole," like to me it was
That
like,
was
"Oh, he's been watching Jim he's had his eye on Jim for a long time." Like Jim,
Yeah.
you know, this idea I was saying like, how long has he seen Jim as a threat, and why is Jim a threat?
Yeah. Or is it because of Tabitha? And it's
Well,
just-
but you wouldn't say that. I mean, it wasn't why. So if it's like, why say that? If like,
I think that was just to say that was him.
no, I mean, why to say it originally? Like, Jim, get control of your wife, Jim. Like, what?
And maybe it's saying you didn't get control of your wife, so now you
I
die.
don't know.
I
but-
don't know.
He's a
Yeah.
new. So here's the thing: Jim's dead, and they're just gonna find him dead in the woods, and not like no one's gonna know, right? Like season 4 comes out in 2026. Like there's no witnesses because Julie's story walking, and in the in the normal Fromville timeline, the story itself, she doesn't know that she's gonna do this in her future, right? So nobody knows. Like, so Man in Yellow kills Jim, but nobody learns that.
We don't. How do we know that nobody knows that though? All we know is Julie said this is the day. This is how I think it happens. We know she knows he died in the future. Clearly.
Yeah, I mean, in the moment, in the next 5 minutes, in the
Oh
next
no,
day,
nobody. I'm sorry. I thought you
story.
meant nobody was going to find him. Like nobody
No,
would.
in the
be
next
there.
episode, Jim will be found dead, and everybody's gonna be like, "Who
Yeah.
ripped his throat out?" In the middle
Okay,
of
I
the
misunderstood what you meant. Scarlett's saying, is he really dead? We didn't see him die. I think they just don't want Jim to be dead. But no, you are not wrong. We didn't actually see him die. We saw his throat ripped out.
we just saw him.
Yeah.
Pretty
No.
funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, all that was kind of huge. That we have, and we have this new character, like this new, what is probably the big bad, or a manifestation of the big bad, or a person. I mean, he's like I don't know. That suit is. I'm just so like that suit. He's like the demon of bad fashion.
Yeah.
Right? Where did he come from that he was wearing that suit when he came to Fromville? Wow.
Yeah, I still have to look up about the King in Yellow and everything because I know.
That's all from
from
True Detective. Yeah. And it goes back to other stories. Yeah.
Mhm.
Goes back to what's his name. All right, so we had a bunch of other stuff happen in this episode.
Let's talk about Elgin and what happens to Elgin. I think that's kind of the next big story point.
Well, can we, before we go down that, can we just talk about one really small thing that I really liked?
Yeah.
Was Henry and Victor.
Oh yeah, I did too.
because I just
That-
feel like this is a 2-minute conversation, and then we'll go down that next hole.
Yeah.
But what a great scene, huh? Where Victor's like, I have to tell you something, and it's okay if you don't want to be my dad anymore. He's such a little boy inside, right? I love that scene.
Yeah, I did too. But I mean, more so even the scene like where when that is that scene when he says, "You don't have to be my dad anymore, and you can pretend I'm dead," or whatever he
That's
says.
after they see the graves. Yeah, after they see
that's
the
really.
Although I did think he buried his mother, so he's like 12 years old, and he drags her dead body all the way to
That's
the place,
horrible.
digs a hole. Well, it defies belief that he dug a hole, dragged her body, dug a hole, put her in there. Maybe the boy in white helped him.
Well, I don't think she was all in one piece, though. It sounds like, I mean, he knew it was her, but I still don't think she was supposed to be all together.
Well, that's Eloise. That's Eloise. He said.
He said Eloise was in such small pieces. She was small already, so like he didn't know for sure it was her. But I'm saying we don't know that his mother was in a single piece. Like he may have been able to carry. I don't mean to get gross, but I mean we don't know that. You know what I mean?
He carried her little pieces, and
so she may have been able to be carried.
Probably a shallow grave. Yeah, it just seemed a little. Yeah, I mean we've talked about this before. Like how did Victor clean up all these bodies that were lying around?
Yeah.
But anyway, I love the Henry and Victor scenes have been really good all season.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very sad scene. I cried everything, as I say, so you can't go by me, but I cried.
Cry.
I definitely cried.
Baby, cry.
No, it was sad. Yeah, but yes, that's a good emotional scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now where you want to go? You want to go to
Well, first I do want to say, because you made me think of emotional scenes, I also enjoyed the scene with Randall and Marielle. That he's breaking down and that she's helping him. And also the fact that now we know Marielle isn't okay, I think is important too.
Well, we always kind of knew that.
Yeah, but she's confirmed it. That's all I wanted to say about that. There's not a lot to say about it. I just wanted to mention.
Yeah.
Actually, I thought that was pretty hilarious when Randall was gonna defibrillate his head.
That would not have went well.
Right? Yeah, there were no pictures of that in the press dump.
Yeah.
But he was good. I mean, it's interesting that like each of the three of them are having a different post-event experience and a different trauma, but he's kind of like Julie talks about hearing screaming in her head all the time, but she just gets high and deals with it. But Randall is really being driven now to his limit by.
Does that have anything to do with what they did the night of the ambulance? Is my question. Are they making it worse? Maybe.
Oh, yeah, and we don't really know. I mean, does he hear the screaming? Does Marielle hear the screaming? We don't really like. They were all three chained up together, but maybe they hear the screaming also. We don't really know. Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you want to go to the whole Boyd tortures Elgin thing?
You want to go to Boyd?
Yeah, that whole storyline.
All right, let's go with my friend Boyd.
Now some of this we sort of talked about while Liz was here, but I was very, very shocked that he did. And I did like the scene too with Cautry trying to talk him out of it. Although I think my favorite line of the whole episode is when he says, that's why it's a rock in a hard place and not a rock in a soft, comfy pillow. I love that line. That's not a good line. But yeah, I was very shocked that Boyd actually did it. I guess I thought at some point he would not be able to do it. What did you guys, were you surprised?
I was not surprised at all.
You weren't surprised that he did it? Oh, we can't hear you, AJ. Yeah. Adjust your mic, please.
You can't hear me?
There, we hear you now. Loud and clear.
Yeah. I haven't moved. I felt like he was going to have no choice but to go there. I didn't think what he was doing was going to scare him enough. What I thought was interesting, once he hit after the first swing, the other swings get easier.
Oh yeah, after the first swing, yeah. But Boyd and Yellow, yeah.
I just want to turn off our. Can you turn off our little thing for a second so I can see the hammer?
Oh, that. Sorry. Yeah, I didn't even realize it was still there.
I got it. I got the ticker.
Then you put it back.
Yeah. I'm of two minds about it. On the one hand, I'm not surprised because Boyd is like at his limit and he has to find this girl, and Sarah had said earlier, Sarah's like, look, he's not going to tell you, right? And yeah, that was true. He had to do it. But there's a part of me that also thought like the show is not going to put Boyd's going to, like the Father Khatri conversation, I felt like was going to bring him back. And that he would, he'd had this conversation with Father Khatri about like, do you really want to do this? And I just felt like Boyd was going to like maybe not do it. Like, was the show going to have Boyd do that? And yet Boyd's like disintegration is real. And he went ahead and he went ahead with it. And there was that moment where, I mean, so much of the scene was great, right? Because before we get there, we had this thing where Acosta shows up, right?
Yeah.
And Acosta's like, what the what? Right. And
she's the only voice of reason, in my opinion, in this scene, which is what's interesting. Because I personally, and I know not everybody agrees with this, and that's fine. But I think they went too far. I don't think that what they did was okay, whether they were looking for it or not. Like, I think that I don't know. I just don't know that I agree that I agree that they had to do it to get Fatima. I just don't know that I agree that they should. But I think it's funny that Acosta is like the only one who's saying, no, you cannot torture this kid. This is not an okay thing. And nobody else is doing it. Because more so than I was surprised at Boyd, I was more surprised that Donna and Kenny let him do it. Because I expected one of them to stop him.
Well, I think it's like Liz said. I don't think, Donna thought he was going to actually do it.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I mean, even once they started hearing him scream, though, they didn't go up and like stop him. They let it happen.
Well, Acosta does. What's her name? Dina? Dee? Danny. Acosta does confront Boyd, right? But he gets really like aggressive back in her face, and he's not totally wrong. Like he's kind of like, you've been here for 5 minutes, you don't know what's going on. I don't have time to explain it to you. The same thing Donna said to her last week, right? Like and what are you going to do about it? And I mean, she is a little big for her britches in this town right now. But Boyd is like, I mean, he's just like off the deep end. He's like, nothing's going to stop him, right? He gets here. Meanwhile, like no one's paying attention to. I mean, the Sarah business was to me more fascinating than Boyd. So yeah, did you think Boyd was going to do it? Did you think Boyd was not going to do it? But did you think Sarah was going to do it? No,
absolutely.
That was great. I love.
I saw that coming.
Yeah, I saw it coming, and I got to say, as soon as they showed the screwdriver, I thought they totally foreshadowed that she's going to stab him in the eye, because we think back to Jade when he saw the guy with the railroad spike in his head. I immediately knew that's what was going to happen. I mean, I was down for it, but I knew it was going to happen. So yeah, I liked how they.
It's interesting too, because Sarah's, this whole redemption arc that Sarah's been going through. I think it's interesting because most people pretty much still hate her with reason, which I get, Yeah. But I like the fact that she didn't do it because the voices told her to, or, she did it because everybody already hates her. And I think that's, her mindset is they already hate me and we need to find Fatima.
Well, I do think she also didn't want Boyd to go that far.
I felt a little bit the same as AJ, that maybe part of Sarah was like, look, he's not going to answer. Someone has to do this, and everyone hates me anyway. And I already killed my brother. So like, I'm already, I mean,
she's already a pariah.
She can't forgive herself already for killing her brother. The town can't forgive her for going after killing her brother and then going after Ethan. Like, she's just, or vice versa. She just, it's really kind of sad, actually. Like,
it is.
It's kind of sad, actually. For her, I don't know. I'm not sure if she's psycho or it's just sad that she did it, right?
It's just sad that she did it.
Yeah, I think
the first thing she says to Elgin when she walks in there, she's like, Boyd doesn't understand how far you need to go.
Yeah.
Because she's been in Elgin's position.
Yeah, I don't think she's psycho that she did it. I think she just knew what had to be done.
I mean, I hear you, AJ. Yeah, both of you. That like she knows how convincing those voices are, and she knows what she did for them, And she knows that Elgin will never betray those voices without like some serious motivation. I do think maybe she went from 0 to 60. Like, could she have started by like chopping off a finger or something? But she goes straight for the eye.
Now, do you think? I was questioning if he's still alive, because if she stabbed him all the way through his eye,
he's alive.
brain. No, but she could have stabbed him all the way through his brain.
He's in pain, but he's alive.
You think? Okay, you think
He was alive. I mean, he was alive. I think when we saw him, he looked like
he was alive, but the way he was like, I don't know, he didn't look super alive. I just wondered if she lobotomized him at the same time.
No, he's alive.
He's alive. He has to be alive because
in real life, maybe. In television, probably not.
I mean, I think you can lose an eye and live and not bleed out.
No, I'm not saying
have one
eye,
eye.
but I'm saying
you can get shot in the eye and live.
No, you can, but it also is like, if it goes far enough, can go into your brain. But I guess
screwdriver
probably wouldn't make
that's
it
out with a screwdriver.
Yeah, I don't know.
Also, Jamie, I mean, I'm not telling you anything you don't know that you don't agree with. That there's far too much good story for Elgin to be dead. For Elgin to be alive,
no, I agree. Like, I don't think they're going to, even though Sarah's sort of on a redemption arc, I don't think they're going to kill Sarah either. I mean, Jim was a different story. His story was kind of run its course. I don't think that hers has.
No. I also think because she hears voices, she has a different role to play, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be that, I mean, did the voices choose her and Elgin? I mean, because they were vulnerable or susceptible, right?
Yeah, that was interesting that she said that like it chooses the people that want to help.
Well, as opposed to choosing like a Jade who sees voices, sees things for a different reason, right?
Yeah.
But for Elgin and Sarah to now have to coexist, and for Sarah to have done this, and in the end, it plays out as not really what did they really gain from it. Like, they found Fatima, but it was kind of, I mean, I don't want to say it was too late, but it was kind of like they couldn't have prevented this, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's my question too. Do you think that Elgin was going to tell them after? I think he was just waiting out her having the baby. Like, I don't think he would have kept her chained up there. I think he would have told them and said, "Oh yeah, she's down there," because he thought this is what's going to take us home. Like, after it happened, she had no reason to stay there.
Yeah, he was going to go down there and tell her what a great experience she just had and how wonderful it was.
But I'm just saying, like, I think that after she had it, he didn't care. He just was like stalling more than anything.
I don't think he knew it was going to be this. I don't think
I don't think he knew it was going to be that. But I'm saying, I think that his point was to stall until she had the baby. Like, I don't think he was necessarily.
Well, yeah, no, I agree. I understand what you're saying.
I think that he probably knew eventually he was going to tell one way or another. He just needed her to have the baby first.
I don't know what he thought. He might have thought they'd be immediately transported magically, or like the Good Witch of the Glinda from the Good Witch of the East would show up and be like, click your heels 3 times and say there's no place like home, right? Like, I don't know what he thought, but I think he thought something great was going to happen. But instead, she half-heartedly tries to stab herself in the stomach, has this disgusting baby with her kimono midwife.
Which I still don't think looks like an egg. Everybody says it looks like an egg. I don't think it looks like an egg. It looks like a baby that's still in the, I don't know, whatever.
In the amniotic sac, right? Which, but her hair broke. It looks like a bean to me, or a blob kind of there, and it looked like a tadpole maybe when it comes out, and then and then she runs down the stairs. These two show up. All the blood is suddenly gone. Like, she's covered in blood here. I guess the kimono lady cleaned her up a little bit before she took off.
I hadn't even noticed that. But You're right.
And she went down the. So I guess I thought, like 2 episodes ago, I thought that trapdoor was going to be her escape.
Yeah.
Come to find out, it's all about this.
That was a surprise, right? I mean, it's probably crazy, but it kind of makes a sense in a weird way. But
that's how the monsters have eternal life.
I mean, that she had the baby. I mean, it's like, it was such a crazy thing, but when you go back through like the things we've learned, it makes sense that it happened because they're immortal. They killed them. They are going to bring them back.
Yeah.
But now here's my question.
Yeah.
What's Kimono Lady's deal?
Yeah, I want to know what she is.
She's something different, but she's like in service to the monsters. Like she's behind it. She convinced Elgin. She presents this baby, like she brings the baby down the stairs and like presents it to the other monsters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like sets it down so that it's smiley. She's definitely something different. So part of me was wondering, does she want to be like did something happen that she's not allowed to like does she want to be one of them? Is this like an offering? Like, oh look, I brought, or is she literally like sort of like the midwife of the, like she takes care of bringing them back to life? She's sort of like, that's her role to play, that she, oh, Smiley got burned up, okay, now I have to like, let me impregnate, let me engineer this whole thing to happen. Like, is that her role in Fromville, to always do that? I don't know why she wears a kimono or looks like a corpse, but she's something different and separate, but maybe this is the role that she plays. Like I don't want to say like an angel or God, like.
Yeah, I don't know. And I kind of wonder, like, was he maybe originally she was the mother? I don't, because I don't know if because like I for a while thought that it was supposed to be like her baby that Fatima was pregnant with, and I don't think it is, but she's kind of like maybe the mother of them or something. I don't know.
I don't know, but to me, this answered so many questions and settled so many things in my mind, which was like, where did the monsters come from? So we learned that they're, who they were and how they sacrificed their children to have eternal life. And now we learned what this eternal life means and why, we've asked a lot of questions like, why Fatima? Why now? Why is nobody else pregnant? What is going on? Because when one dies, one has to come back.
Yeah, because somebody had said I think when she knew she was pregnant, that like was after or around the same time as Smiley was killed.
Probably.
So,
well,
he's ready for action in season 4. He does. I do have an interesting thing to tell you guys, though. I know you didn't watch the interview yet. Well, Karen watched part of it. I don't know how much you watched of it. I'm wondering if there's like a deleted scene or something, because he was saying, Jamie, who plays Smiley, was saying that there was like a little like boy Smiley and like a teen Smiley when he was like growing, when they showed him, but like you couldn't see any of that. So I feel like there had to have been more that they cut. Because all you could see was a blob standing up. I mean, to me, it just kind of got bigger.
I thought it just meant like to have a smaller body to be in that membrane to show him growing. Because obviously, like for a fully grown actor he can't. The blob is small when it sits on the ground. It gets bigger and bigger, and then he couldn't. I just think they were like.
Maybe I just kind of had assumed it was like CGI, and he was just there, like it grew and he stepped out, type of thing.
I just thought they had a legit smaller person and then a medium person than him as it grew, and they shot that a little more.
Could be, and that could be how they did it. I
think they shot it a little more practically than CGI.
Yeah, that's possible.
I thought that's what he meant, but I don't really know, right?
No, that might be what he meant. I'm just saying, I mean, that is what he meant. I'm just saying, I wonder if there was like more to it that they cut, was what I was saying. Like, I wonder if you could actually see each individual stage or something and they took it out. I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, it was super gross.
Yes.
And super cool. And for me, answered a bunch of stuff that I can stop wondering and thinking about now. Mm-hmm. And poor Boyd, when Boyd watched it, right? So Boyd, I don't have a picture of it, but Boyd goes down and follows Kimono Lady down into the trap door, right? Like Fatima's like, they took it, which, he goes down there, he watches it all happen. So poor Boyd to have like gotten the worms, infected Smiley, killed him, burned him, cremated him, all this, and now he's back. Like how defeating would that feel to know that you learned how to kill one and now it's back?
But it's also his grandchild in a way, which makes it even more.
But it's not.
No, it's not. No, not even. No.
No, I know it's not really. I'm just teasing, but yeah. Because somebody asked me, he's going to call him Grandpa. That's what he needs to do to Boyd, just to like piss Boyd off,
I mean,
Oh, that would be funny. If
That would be
Smiley,
fun.
like the next time he sees Boyd, he's like,
Hey,
Grandpa.
Grandpa. Yeah,
That would be funny.
yeah.
That would be funny. Let's put that idea in Don and Jeff's ear when we're
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah. So let me ask you guys a question. How do you think she found out about what the monsters did? Do you think the kimono woman told her? Because that was unclear how she found out. Like if it was just she knows it now, or did she like outright tell her about the sacrifices?
Oh, yeah. I mean, could Kimono Lady have told her? Like, I don't think like the baby told her, because I think it would have come to her before.
Yeah, though to be fair, she didn't talk to anybody before that. I mean,
Good night,
Kimono Lady and
Papa.
Elgin were the only ones there. So
I wonder if it triggered a memory. Could Fatima be cycling? Could she also be remembering a past life and giving
Could be.
information she knew before?
Yeah, could be.
Like, did like, this sort of like trauma of having the baby remind her? Maybe she has given birth to monster babies before. Maybe that's her role, to be recreated, cycled through, and always be the one who had the baby. That would be horrible. I don't know why. I just made that up. I have no reason to say that. I just made it up right now.
No, but you could be right. I guess it depends if Tabitha and Jade are the ones that are reincarnated because they didn't sacrifice their kids or not. Like, I guess it depends if that is why or not, because we don't really know for sure.
That could be why they are reincarnated, but other people could be reincarnated for other reasons. They could all be trapped here.
True. Well, yeah, that's true. She could be reincarnated, but isn't necessarily one of the original ones that sacrificed children, I guess.
No, but we don't know who is ensnared in this cycle and why. We know why two people are in it, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
But I Fatima, we didn't see Kimono Lady tell her. Maybe she did, although I don't know why Kimono Lady would tell her that.
Yeah.
Except to be like, don't worry about it. We all sacrificed our children and blah, blah, blah. Like, what? Did Kimono Lady tell her? Did it just come to her? Did she remember it? That's a big hole that. And of course, this being a TV show, Boyd and Elf don't say, wait, what? What? She told you that? What? Right? Who told you that? Because they never saw Kimono Lady.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I wonder if it was maybe that. I didn't even think of it till you asked, Jamie. That's a really good question. How did she know?
Yeah, I don't know. It was just odd the way she said it. I mean, it could have been something that she felt with the baby. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe she learned things from the baby, but
right, because you're right. She probably would have learned it before, but she hadn't seen anybody to tell. So
how did she learn that as it? I don't know. I guess we'll find that out. That's a thing. We're gonna get Pinkner on the show, right?
Yeah. And for anybody who doesn't know, we are supposed to get John Griffin and Jeff Pinkner. Just waiting to try to get a date set up.
They won't answer anything like this.
No, I know. Well, but they may explain things that have already been answered, like whether something's correct or not.
Yeah.
I hope. Yeah, I have tons of questions for them.
Yeah. So, well, I think we've pretty much covered all the action that occurred in the episode. Is there anything else that went on that you guys want to, or any character you want to really?
Yeah, I was seeing if there was anything else. I don't think.
I'm sorry that I think it would. If it's Matt, I'm sorry Papa left, because Papa Sock said in the chat that they were on the Boyd scenes. They were thinking of Saeed on Lost.
Oh yeah, I that's what I said laugh out loud too.
And did you guys see that? So when I upload photos for our show every week, I have to name them all. They all have a name in our scroll here. And did you see what I named that picture?
No.
This picture, the name of the photo, I wrote, "He's our you."
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah. But yeah. So all right. Well, we're going to be back with a little.
I was going to say, you from people who are still hanging around the Fromely, don't forget that tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern, we have, I want to call her Sarah Conrad, Avery Conrad, who plays Sarah. live tomorrow. So make sure you come back then.
At 6
And
o'clock
please,
tomorrow?
we love if you'd stay now to listen to the rest of our show. I'm just saying,
Is it at 6? Right?
Yes,
6
6
Eastern.
Yep.
Okay.
And please subscribe to my YouTube.
All right. Come back and come see that. That should be great to hear about that whole scene. with
Yeah,
her.
I do want to know about that scene.
Yeah.
I think it ended up better in a way because now we can ask. So,
All right.
all right. Yeah. Well, you guys do Silo. I am going to stay and listen, but I am going to switch to my iPad. So I'm going to mute this for a second and go off the stage and back on the stage. Just give me
All
a
right.
minute.
We're going to move our show along to talk about this week's episode of Silo. AJ,
Yes.
so it's clear now that we knew this would happen. Like this episode takes place in Silo 18. In the original Silo. So we had a complete episode without Juliet in it. I didn't miss her at all. Not that I didn't miss her. I want to see her story, but this was so good that it did not bother me one bit to not cut over to Silo 17.
Yeah,
How
no,
did you like
I was fine with it. Given that her storyline is definitely gonna be a little slower.
Yeah.
I wanted to see what happened in 18, to learn, and we learned. I feel like we learned a lot. For one thing, Common is a lot more in the dark than we realized.
Yeah. He I thought he was right up there with Bernard and that he knew pretty much everything that was going on. And this is sort of a new this bit with his ambition and wanting to be the shadow and I mean I like that. I think he wants to be the mayor, right? Or do you think he wants to be the head of judicial?
Yeah, he wants to be the mayor.
He wants to be the mayor.
He wants to shadow what's his face?
Bernard.
Yeah.
He wants to shadow Bernard, who Bernard is claiming that he was going to. Bernard's always said, I'm going to be the temporary mayor. I'm just acting mayor until judicial can have an election or whatever, right? He keeps saying he's acting mayor. I don't want to be the mayor. I mean, I think he wants to be the mayor, and I think he's going to be the mayor for a long time. And I don't know. Do you think he wants to be the mayor? Or do you think being head of IT, which head of IT, you can call yourself head of IT, but it's basically being the secret police, right? The secret service. He's like the head spy. Head of IT is like the head surveillance officer.
Yeah, I think he wants to be the mayor at some point because he wants to shadow him.
Yeah. Common wants to be the mayor. Common and his wife, they're ambitious, right?
Yes, they are.
Yeah. So I really like the action in this episode. So Bernard, so Apple gives us very limited press photos in the dump. So I don't have a ton here, and I don't have a shot of him. He can see Juliet's screen pretty far from he can see her visor pretty far from the silo, and he sees everything she saw. Which was kind of awesome. And he's immediately in a freak out, right?
Yeah, he was not a happy camper.
Yeah, because I think he immediately realizes the danger, and he's not wrong. People are freaking out, right? So I love that. I love that we actually got a picture of this part of the pact, which is in the event of a failed cleaning, prepare for war. I think that means rebellion, right? Prepare for a rebellion, not prepare for war. Prepare for
Well, it kind of. I mean, we saw last week we saw a rebellion, and that's a bit of a war.
Yeah. So it made me wonder. Do you think that's what happened? In Silo 17, I wonder if a failed cleaning precipitated that rebellion. Could be anything. I hope we're going to find out. Maybe it's not a failed cleaning, but the
Well, it's people asking questions, and not getting the answers that they think they deserve. I'm all for that.
Yeah. But the founders definitely saw the possibility of a failed cleaning. Like they have the whole fail-safe they put in the whole procedure they put into place where you would see the beautiful blue sky and think people got to see that. What it's actually kind of crazy because like you see the blue sky and the trees and the birds and think, oh, people have to see this. Let me clean the screen. Like, I'm sorry, is it dirt on the screen making it look like a wasteland? No. But
Good point.
I mean, they foresaw that this could happen, which is interesting. And so Bernard like goes right into action. I loved his speech. Well, his speech was terrible. What do you think of that speech, AJ?
It was so bad. It was so bad. But a lot of people bought it. A lot of people ate it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Where he says like, oh, Juliet volunteered to test a new kind of tape. Like, you know, I mean, I give him credit for thinking fast, right? Because his initial reaction is like, oh, we got to arrest Walker and, you know, we have to arrest Carla because they know, right? He figures out that they know. He figures out the thing with the tape pretty quickly. It's like, oh, they have to have found out the tape.
Well, that's the thing, because they knew. They already knew themselves.
Yeah. So he's going to arrest Walk, and he's going to arrest Carla, who was the one from Supply who helps with the tape. And they do get arrested. I think... I mean, I loved how their arrest really was just about like showing how everybody's getting all up in arms and all kinds of crazy, right? And like, again, I don't have pictures of it, but like all the crowds are getting all worked up and people are, and then, I mean, I loved Bernard's such a genius that like when he goes to meet with, when he goes to meet with Mary, Judge Mary Meadows, and what am I trying to say here? Where she asks him like, oh, what did you know? She talked about the speech and she says, no one's going to believe that. Like, that's a terrible story. And he's like, yeah, it's going to last a day. We're in trouble. Like Bernard knows that he's just like,
yeah.
I mean, I thought it was just so well. I just love the whole way that story went where Bernard's like, he's like, I got it. And then he's like, I don't have it. This is terrible. This is a really bad situation.
Yeah.
I liked the judge in this episode.
Yeah, that was interesting. Her storyline. I love at the end when she's like, I'll help you, but I want what Juliet has. I want out. And he's like, the look on his face of pure terror.
Oh yeah. I love that this character who we barely saw in season 1 and who, you know, apparently is like a huge alcoholic, which anyone would be if you live in a silo. And she's, you know, been kind of like not really useful. And then all of a sudden she steps up and she has his back and then she has this plan, right? She's got him right where she wants him now.
Yeah.
She's like, I'll help you, but I want you, what Juliet wants, I want out. And he's like, it's only after he has confessed to her, that he doesn't trust Sims. He doesn't want Sims. He wants, and that the judge used to be his shadow. And 25 years ago, she's like, I quit and I'm becoming a drunk. So I can't wait to learn more about why she quit 25 years ago. And 25 years later, Bernard still thinks she's the only person who could really be the new mayor, be his, not the new mayor, be his shadow as head of.
JP's asking a question. That's why I was putting it up. While you guys...
Yeah. So Mary was Bernard's shadow. So does she know a lot of secrets that Common does not? I think so. Yeah.
Oh, she knows a lot.
I think she found out stuff that is the reason she quit. Like she knows so much that she quit. She's like, I can't, whatever it is that you do, Bernard, I can't be a part of it. Right. She knows all the lies. And Common does not. Because Bernard won't let him in. Yeah, I totally agree. And she won't be his shadow again. She's like, I hope you're right now, but I want out. She wants freedom. right? Juliet might be dead, she might be alive, but she had at least 5 minutes of freedom that none of them have ever known in their lives.
Well,
Do you think so, AJ? Do you think, how Bernard is like, oh, she's definitely dead? I mean, she got over the hill, but she has definitely got to be dead by now.
I think that's what he's hoping.
Yeah, he's like, if he says it enough times, maybe he'll start to believe it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Yeah. He doesn't really know. Like, she's been underestimated so many times, right? And she always, Jamie, are you typing?
sorry. Yeah, I muted it because I made a noise. I didn't mean to.
I can't wait to see more of her. And then we had this whole other storyline about Shirley. Right? Shirley is her name.
Yeah, surely.
Shirley, who is like the new Juliet in terms of like being a rabble rouse. She's not going to keep her mouth shut. She's really very upset, and she knows it's all lies. And then I loved all of her scenes with Knox. What do you think about Knox?
I hate Knox. He's
Yeah?
such a jerk.
Why do you hate Knox?
Because he says, "Oh, I did it for everybody." He does it shit for himself. He's completely all about himself. He didn't turn Juliet in, to protect everybody down there. He did it to protect his own ass.
You think so, yeah?
Oh yeah.
You don't think he's trying to like protect everybody and protect the silo
Nope.
and keep the generator going? No?
Nope.
He doesn't want to get sent outside to clean?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's protecting himself.
Well, he's these scenes were great also, right? He kind of I don't know. He says the right things, but you're right. He's sort of like, nobody's buying it. Shirley's not buying it. He's really got himself like at odds with Shirley now, and she's not gonna. I mean, I think he cares about her and he wouldn't maybe turn her in unless he had to, like he did with Juliet, right? He's not gonna just call Hank. By the way, what do you think about Hank? I mean, Hank is a weasel, huh?
Yeah. He's smart weasel though.
He is. I'm not really sure. Like, I'm waiting to see when push comes to shove, will Hank side with the sheriff or with the down deep? I mean, he did take Walk in, and he did handcuff her and walk her all the way up the stairs. I can't believe he walked that woman up like 70 flights of stairs again. Can't believe she's still alive. But he didn't take pleasure in it the way I feel like there are times when I feel like Sims kind of takes pleasure in arresting people. He's a little cruel, I think, Sims. Like, I think he kind of enjoys, like, arresting people and sending them out to clean and stuff like that. And Hank took no joy in arresting Walker, but he didn't really feel that bad about it either, right?
He's in a unique position. It's he's not going to do anything to get himself fired, but he's also going to help when he can.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting to see where he goes. Also in this episode, we saw only like 2 minutes of Juliet's father. I don't know his first name. His first name is Dr. Nichols. It was kind of interesting to me because they said, oh, we should like go talk to him also. And then nothing ever happens. And I felt like just showing him in this episode was like a signal that he has a role to play this season. Like, even
well, I mean, the episode ends with Bernard telling Sims to go talk to him or follow him.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why. Like, they think maybe he helped Juliet, or right, maybe he was involved in the plot with the tape, or I'm not really sure why. Or they think she'll try to. I mean, prior to the events of last season, they hadn't spoken in like 20 years, right? Juliet hadn't spoken to her father in seriously like 20 years. It's not like
they're kind of hedging all their bets and grasping at straws.
I guess maybe they think that I mean, they do know that she talked to him in her last day, right? Like that he helped her and stuff at the last minute. He's carrying a lot of guilt, right? And I mean, if there's any, like, I don't know that he's the type to get involved in any kind of like rebellion. He seems to be really worn down and beaten down by his life, right? And he's not that guy, except he's Ian Glenn. So you never know, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he could pick up a sword and surprise us.
Well, yeah, you never know, but I don't really know maybe he'll get involved with whatever kind of resistance is going to happen or any kind of like rebellion or whatever. I mean, it seems to be going that way. People are getting really worked up. I thought it was a great episode. I thought it was really tense. The whole episode was like so tense, and I was just waiting to see what was going to happen next. And I really, this episode played a really good counterpoint to last week. Last week had some tension also, but this was a whole different level of heightened activity. And what I like the contrast between the two episodes we've seen so far.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. Like I said, learning, all the little nuances, because we're seeing more behind the curtain in this episode than we have before.
Yeah, we really didn't know anything that Bernard was up to. And I mean, Bernard is like, he's really, he really knows more than anybody. Let me put up JP real quick. JP said he thinks Hank is really sincere, that he respectfully walk up. I'll give you that. Yeah, he was respectful. He was not at all violent or rough or harsh with her. And he said, I'm going to have to and he does try to keep the peace. I think he's going to have to, everyone's going to have to take a side maybe before this is over.
Well, don't you always?
Well, you always take a side or just get caught up in it or see what's going to happen or whatever. Yeah. He's, we didn't see anything about our sheriff up top, right? You guys are so funny. Juliet finds out the hatch is the root cellar and leaves in the silo. Julie, in From season 4, Julie finds out that the hatch in the root cellar leads to the silo.
That's funny.
That is funny. Yeah, I love this episode. I as much as I hated Tim Robbins' character, like the mayor, you're supposed to hate the mayor, the IT, you're supposed to hate him. He was like a heavy all of last season. And then this season, in this episode, I suddenly was hoping Bernard would look. I don't like him; he's not a hero, but I don't want to see the silo burn, right? And I was like,
yeah,
really kind of.
You also, and that's exactly. You also understand him a little better. It's one of those situations now where it's like you understand his motivation, but his methods, the methods are what are outdated, and they need to change.
They are, but they all come from the pact, right?
Right.
And
which is outdated.
It's funny because all of last season, who's the guy who's the new sheriff? The guy that was Juliet's deputy last year, who wasn't in this episode.
I know you're talking about. I can't think of his name.
I can't think of his name either. The guy who has the syndrome or whatever. His dedication to the pact was almost played for a laugh sometimes, and Juliet didn't really respect it, and yet he also had a sense of morality about the pact and the way it should be implemented. And then you see Bernard, the way he interprets the pact, which is all sort of sinister and keeping people it appears to be designed to keep people in the dark and from understanding their past and all that. And yet he goes right to it and it provides nothing for him for the failed cleaning. It's a complete, he says when he talks to Judge Mary, he's like, wait, what? Judge Meadows, this book did not help me at all. Really? So the pact, I don't know, the different ways they're both so dedicated to the pact, but Bernard works in the gray areas of the pact, right? He's a guy who's weaponizing the pact to keep, or has interpreted it for his own means to keep people. I don't know. I think Bernard, after watching somewhat last season and after this episode, I mean, do you think that he's really like, I mean, genuinely dedicated to the good of the silo? Yeah.
I think he thinks he did.
Right? He's like, we talk about the bad guys always think they're good guys.
Yeah.
Like he thinks he's doing what's best for but he's got that little bit of like, I'm an old white man. I know what's best.
You're funny, Karen.
Definitely.
No, really. He's like, why do you know what's best? Right? Like he's like, I know, and
I'm smarter than you.
yeah.
Smarter than the average bear.
Yeah.
How about one of my favorite parts of this episode also, AJ, there's no picture of it that I have because I don't sit and screen cap my television or watch online and grab it or whatever. But when Judge Meadows produces a copy of The Wizard of Oz.
Oh yeah.
Which
I like that.
Which it appears that books are not allowed, right? Books are not allowed because they're relics. That was great. That was, I mean, I love that. And she talks about the man behind the curtain and how the wizard was a fraud. And I mean, she's definitely like talking about Bernard and the Pact.
Yeah.
That was pretty awesome.
Yeah. I it's amazing how, through all these years, how many analogies are pulled from The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. It's amazing. And it's like, what do they say? It's somebody talking about Wicked. Yesterday, someone said to me, like, right now we have a musical that's based on a Broadway show that was based on an 80-year-old movie that's based on a 100-year-old book. Wizard of Oz is like eternal.
Yeah.
And you're right. So much stuff comes from it.
The ultimate adaptation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Bernard's kind of the man in front of the curtain because he's, or he was behind the curtain until he suddenly had to become the mayor, which I think he only became the mayor because he wanted the wine.
JP's asking if he's in contact with the other silos. I think but
so
I don't think there are any other silos.
Was in contact.
I think they're the last one standing.
I mean, I think JP, I think that's possible, right? Like the guy that Juliet found at the end of the episode, we talked about this last week, that he's in like an office behind like this electronic door that is not the same, but reminds us of the door that Bernard has the key to. That, it's the only site, like throughout all of season 1, we saw them opening doors with keys, and Bernard has
definitely would make sense. They can contact the other ones if they're alive in there. I mean, like it would make sense.
Well, it would make sense that you would have, like, if you were going to set up like 100 silos, and even if you were trying to make people believe they were, like, you would have a way to communicate, right? When they went into the silos, they must have, everybody knew, right? 140 years ago or 200 or 300 years ago when they went to the silo, everybody knew there was like multiple silos. Why wouldn't they?
Beginning, maybe, but not at the end.
In the beginning, yes. In the beginning, why would they not have a way to communicate?
Yeah.
I mean, so that's interesting. Are there people alive in the other silos, and is he in contact with them?
I don't think he's in contact. I don't think, because he doesn't. He's terrified that when Juliet goes over the ridge, I think he ultimately believes she's dead, or gonna be, because she's gonna run out of air.
Yeah.
I don't think he's in contact with anybody else.
Do you think though there are people alive? And I know, Karen, you've read the books, you probably do know, but do you think there are people in the other silos? I mean, I feel like there could definitely be.
There could be. I mean,
makes sense for future stories.
Steve Zahn's eyes were in Silo 17, so.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one guy in Silo 17. Is it possible among all those, like, I'd say,
maybe some of them survived. It seems
right.
Like
the odds are that all those silos she saw, that only one is still functioning. Like, could there be another one that's still operating? Sure. Or could there be some people? I mean, it depends if you can operate it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think could he be in contact?
I don't know, but if he is, we'll
I don't
probably
know.
find out.
Here, to AJ, to your point, if he was in contact with their silos, would he be so terrified? I mean, he's terrified that people in his own silo are gonna rebel, but I guess AJ, to your point, like he could just call the other silos and be like, "Can you see her? What happened? You know what happened?"
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. And even though I've read the books, I don't know if they'll follow the books because the books are pretty slim. And they could always like add more and do different things, right? But I think he was in like sort of an IT office kind of thing. Yeah. Jamie, it was really good. You got to watch it. It was so tense. The whole episode was like really tense. And there was like that element of like a riot could break out at any moment, which probably wouldn't happen in episode 2, but whatever, right?
Yeah, I really want to see it. I had every intention to, and then, like I said, we were going shopping because we're going away for Thanksgiving, and I got home and I was getting ready for Elizabeth's interview, and I'm like, oh shit, they're gonna kill me. I didn't watch it. I like literally did not think about it till then. So I am sorry. I am gonna go.
Anything else? So we can move on.
No, we got one more thing to talk about tonight, and it won't take that long because the only other show we're watching right now is Dune.
Prophecy.
Dune Prophecy. Let me find my Dune Prophecy art. Dune Prophecy.
One less slow.
No, it was
no. It was about the same slow.
I would say
same slow. Okay.
I would say it was equally slow. It was quite slow. So I mean, what happens in this episode is that after what's her name? The sister died last week. The sisters are all sort of like, upset about it. And Valia, and then they get word about the little boy being killed, the little prince being killed last week. And so Valia decides she's going to go to the court, to the Carino court, and deal with it, right? AJ, it was
the princess have to get married again because like she married him just so she could like not be married for a while, really, because he was so young. I'm just curious.
Well, it has to be another. The guy needs another son.
I mean, this episode focused on really the fallout from that killing, and his parents are irate and demanding answers from Emperor Mark Strong.
I loved it. Yeah, I love they tried to blame the toy. That's the smart effect.
So that's the cover story, right? Carino's like, oh yeah, he shouldn't have had that little.
Yeah, it's your fault. You let him have that toy.
Yeah, and his father is like, wait, what? There's no way. But they're sticking to it, and eventually it comes out. Eventually it comes out that they've got Desmond Hart in custody, and they've got him in sort of this cool cell. It's kind of the special effects and it's a good looking show. And it comes out that they've got him in custody, but he's not at all sorry, right, AJ? And he's like, well, I killed him because I had to. And in the end,
he's like, I did it for you.
Oh yeah, he's like, I did it to you. But I think that Carino, is that how you say his name, right? The Emperor. I think he's a little mistaken because like Desmond Hart is like, oh, I serve the Imperium, and I guess Carino's like, oh, I'm the Emperor, so you serve me. But that is not at all what he meant, right? This is the thing we see in like Game of Thrones and other shows where a guy's like, I serve the throne. I don't serve the person sitting on the throne. I serve the throne.
Yeah, I serve the realm.
Yep, and this is where Carino's made a mistake when Hart says, I serve the Imperium. And so what happens is he's like, oh, guess what? I don't need these witches, these sisters hanging around. You could be my advisor. And so now he has displaced Valia. She looks actually really surprised when that comes to pass.
Yeah.
Wait, he hires him when he knows he's the one that killed the kid?
Yeah, but it's not his kid. It's not his kid, right? He never wanted.
So he just doesn't care.
Well, he didn't really want his daughter to marry that little kid in the first place. He just wanted the father's army to go defend Arrakis.
No, I get that. I'm surprised he hired him when he knew he killed him.
Yeah, well, the guy has like he's got a compelling story, and he says that he serves the throne, and he says it in a way that the sisterhood never says. We serve the throne. They're like, we're sisters and we'll provide
And
the
it's
service.
kind of like
never.
he did what they wanted because they didn't want that kid there. So I guess that's true. He's like, yeah, well, you got rid of the problem.
Well, yeah, and so in the end, he ends up like, so what happens is, remember AJ when they're like the Emperor brings him out, he brings Desmond Hart out, and he's like, oh yeah, this is the guy that killed your son, and the guy's really pissed, and then what happens is the Emperor he starts burning the other guy, the rival Duke or whatever he is, right? Like I'm pointing at my camera, like you guys can see this, but so Desmond Hart starts to burn him from the inside also, and he has to like crawl on his knees and like beg for you to stop and have mercy. So basically, the Emperor uses this guy to threaten the little boy's father, right? AJ, that's how that went down.
Yes.
And he's like burning him from the inside, and the guy's like, "Stop, blah, blah, blah." So he basically is like, "I have this awesome like." Powerful dude, and so
yeah, he's basically like you're gonna
keep your army on Arrakis, right?
Yeah, you're gonna keep to the agreement that we had, or I'm gonna finish the job, basically.
Marriage or no marriage, we still have a deal.
Yeah,
otherwise I'm gonna have this guy burn you up. So he sees what a useful weapon he is, and so temporarily Valia and her sisterhood, she had showed up. Her big plan was to bring a young sister Theodosia with her and have her become best friends. She's like, oh, you need to become best friends with the princess, right? Because they still want her to come to their school. And she still wants to go to the school.
Yep.
That's a very slow-moving storyline, right? And I don't really... she's not that likable. This princess, yet. We don't know her yet.
One thing that came about, though, that I thought was kind of interesting was to find out that her swordsman there, Atreides, is part of a rebellion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was kind of interesting. He turns out that he's one of the rebels, and he's like inside there as a spy. And his fellow rebels are like, they don't really trust him that much, right?
Right.
And he like also he still wants to like have sex, and she's like, no, I'm not leaving the planet. Well, she said it was different when I was leaving the planet. We could have sex when I was about to leave the planet, but she implies that she's not going to leave the planet. But I don't think that Valia is going to allow that to happen. She really wants her to come and study with the sisterhood, right? And then we saw her stupid brother. So I was wondering why we were being subjected to this extended sex scene, which seemed to have no purpose. I'm like, oh, this is HBO having like, nudity and sex because it's HBO. And then it actually turned out to have a point because, it was kind of obvious that, but it still had a point that he was having sex with the little boy's older sister.
Which begs the question, why were they marrying? Like, why don't these two get married to join the families?
Oh, because he's illegitimate. Do you remember when they're?
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot.
Your bastard, like let it slip. That he's.
Yeah, I forgot.
He's an illegitimate son. That's why he can't. He's not heir to the throne, or to anything really. But I guess kudos to HBO that if I had to, like, if they were gonna have like this big sex scene, it actually like led to something. It wasn't just like random sex like we see in some of these HBO shows sometimes.
It's never random sex.
It's not random, but it's
it has a purpose.
Yeah. So yeah. So then there was the other whole boring thing about Sister Lila. Like last week, I was like, oh, she's the one. She's the most powerful. She's going to be, and now she's dead.
She was pretty powerful till she was dead.
She's already dead. I was a little, so they have this bad idea, which is apparently, they have some way that you can go into your dreams and talk to your dead relatives. So the reveal that she was the great granddaughter of the Mother Superior, it never occurred to me that she had children, right? And this poor child is sent back in her memory to go get some secrets from Rail or whatever, and then bye. Your dead mother is going to kill you. Your dead grandmother is going to kill you. And she never wakes up from her dream. She does reveal, I can't remember what it was that she said. She reveals some information about another riddle, right? She gets a riddle.
Yeah.
From her dead great grandmother.
Well, and we got, and I don't know what the importance of it's going to be is, but she's like, you were hoping to meet to see your mommy while you were here. Well, guess what? They lied to you. She's not here. So her mother's alive.
Her mother's not dead. Yeah, her mother's alive.
But I don't know what kind of importance or significance that's going to have down the road.
Yeah. So the prophecy, I just looked up the prophecy. The prophecy was the key to the reckoning is one born twice, once in blood, once in spice. A revenant full of scars, a weapon born of war on a path too short. That's Desmond Hart, right? One born twice, once in blood, once in spice. Because he was like bitten by a sandworm, right?
He was swallowed by a sandworm.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's definitely Desmond Hart.
I thought of that too when I figured it was him too when she did the riddle. I just didn't remember what it was.
Yeah. Which, I mean, wasn't it kind of obvious to all of us that, like, did you really need to, like, I don't know, like, Valia meets him. She goes,
yeah, that didn't go well.
But she meets him. It didn't go well. He's not afraid of her, and she tries to use the voice on him, and she's like, but I knew he was faking it, right? When she's like,
oh yeah, it was obvious he was faking it.
Yeah.
That was the first thing, because I'm watching it with Artie, and I said to him right away, I was like, you know he's faking it, right? And Artie was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, he was totally faking it. But it was kind of a great scene when he stood up to her, partly on the strength of like the acting. But it was a little, I don't know, it was all really slow and boring, right? I really thought the Sister Lila stuff didn't work, partly because they want us to, like, Tula is like, Tula loves her, and she's like, I raised her, I feel like her mother, and she's all, but I think what's hard for me was that we don't really see it. She tells us, like, it's told to us in dialogue. I love her, I raised her, I care about her. This was hard. We didn't
have enough time with the characters to see it.
Right? Yeah, I agree with you. And so now she's going to be mad at her sister for making her do it, but again, it's not earned through what we've seen, because we only have 6 episodes. And on the one hand, I'm like, do we need more episodes? And on the other hand, I'm like, no, this already feels like it's been 100 episodes and it's only been 2.
Yeah, it definitely drags.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely looks like it could get more interesting. I think just right now, these first 2 episodes, they're laying the groundwork.
Yeah. Maybe it'll pick up. It's a good thing this show is so gorgeous. In fact, in the press dump, I did not include these pictures, but the press dump included 2 photos. There was an image of like that ship that Sister Valia flies on that looks like an electric razor flying around.
I said to Artie, I was like, why do all their ships look like puzzle pieces?
It did. It does. It looks like a puzzle piece also. And there was another picture of some architecture that was just gorgeous. Like the show looks fabulous.
Oh yeah.
So that's saving it a little for me, but God, it's slow. Boy, it's slow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, the movies are slow. I mean, it's not an action show. I mean, you know what's actually funny? I mean, it's very political, which is something that you and I often enjoy. But it's so slow that it's, I'm not, don't Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I'm not enjoying the first 2 episodes.
That's what I was going to say. Do you not like it or do you like it?
No, I like it. It's just slow.
It's really, really slow. I mean, having watched the 2 movies, I'm prepared for slow. I was out last night with a friend of mine watching football, and we were talking about Dune and this show or whatever, and should you watch it? And my friend says to me, "How many times did you read the book?" And I was like, "How many times?" 0. I read it 0 times.
Oh, you didn't read Dune?
No, I got through like the first 100 pages, and I couldn't do anymore. That's as far as I got in the book. But I'm like, how many times did I read it? Are you kidding me?
Did you read it multiple times or something?
Yeah, it's like, isn't it like 900 800 pages? It's like,
and that's the thing. I mean, like, it's not just one book either. I mean, there's.
Yeah.
I guess like, well, if
I haven't read. I've only read Dune and Messiah.
How many times did you read it? Now it's my
first
college.
Once.
We went to one of the nerdiest
like
colleges in America, so we're very nerdy people. But how many times did you read it? I was like 0. I never read it at all, but having seen the movies, I was prepared for. I know the novels are slow. This is slow. I mean, there's only 4 more episodes. I'll keep watching it. If it was like 10 episodes, I don't know if I could do it. We'll see. Anyway, we'll see. Jamie, you could probably fast forward through a lot of it and get caught up pretty quick.
Maybe I'll just watch a YouTube.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. So, all right. I think that's all we got tonight, right?
Yep.
So, did we watch anything else? I don't think we watched anything.
No, we didn't watch anything else, and we're dropping. We're dropping From. So next week we have Silo and Dune, and I don't know if anything new is on that we'll pick up.
I'm an AJ clone. I couldn't get my icon to change.
You know what though, Jamie? I watched Interior Chinatown.
Is it good?
Oh, did you? I didn't finish it yet. Do you like it?
Oh, yeah,
I like it.
I like it. It's weird, and it's like
it's different.
It's hard to explain to somebody who hasn't seen it without giving anything away.
Yeah, that's true. Did you watch it all though?
Yeah, I've seen the whole thing.
Okay, because I got a couple left.
All right,
watching it. I like it.
Well, you guys, you know that I watched all of Alex Cross, which I thought was
I liked. You didn't like it, huh?
I didn't look. I really like Aldous Hodge. He was fantastic in the lead role. I liked the character Alex Cross. I liked how he's so angry. I mean, it was so good, right? But I thought the actual story and the mystery was full of holes. And the serial killer was like a ludicrous person, and the whole thing about like it was just full of holes and ridiculous. And how is it that almost every single person in the entire Washington D.C. police force is in league with the serial killer? It just like every single person else.
Yeah, when I watched that, I kept thinking this is like The Following. I kept thinking you guys are going to say this is like The Following.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I agree with that part.
Yeah. And you guys know I gave Arcane a shot, but I just couldn't. I got bored.
You gave it 20 minutes.
So good.
I'll try it again. I'm sorry, an animated series that's
if you don't like animated series, you might not like it. But
Jamie, did you finish Arcane?
No, I'm I think for the first third of season 2. I just haven't had a chance to finish it.
We finished it last night. It was it's so good.
I was gonna say the third piece came out, didn't it? I thought it.
Yeah, it came out Saturday. We watched episodes 8 and 9 yesterday because we just couldn't wait.
It's animated and it stars children. It had 2 strikes against it before I turned it on.
Karen, there's a time jump.
Children are only at the beginning. Yeah, that's only the very beginning.
All right, I'll try it again.
Yeah, they're adults in like 99% of the show. So.
All right, good. So, all right, so we'll see. There's some more stuff coming out in the next couple weeks. Hopefully some good shows that will keep some people with us listening, watching, joining our conversation. Right?
Yeah. I'm not sure. What else is coming, though? Like, I'm trying to think of what's coming.
We'll figure that out later. We're
Google it up.
Late.
Yeah. But for everybody, if you did miss the announcement, we will be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern with Avery Conrad, who plays Sarah on From. And then Julie and I will be back on Sunday night. I'm not sure what we're gonna do. We're gonna do some kind of, deep dive type thing for From. I'm just not sure. We're gonna focus on something different, I think, this week, but we're probably gonna still have a show. So not 6 hours, but a show.
All right. Cool.
All righty. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's something coming up, but I'm like blanking of what it is.
Well, we'll cross
Well,
that bridge when we come to it, I guess.
Yeah, no, I was just trying to see if I had it written down because I don't know. Oh, Earth Abides is coming up.
Oh, yeah. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys will like it or not, but it's coming out soon.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, and I still have more for interviews. I still have more Cruel Intentions to put up, more Cross to put up, and more Outlander to put up. I'm a bit behind. I'm trying to catch up there to get them up. But yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
All right.
All right, guys. Well,
Okay,
thanks everybody who listened. Thanks for the great questions.
Thank you, everybody.
Take
Like
time
fun.
to subscribe to the channel and join the Discord. I'll copy it again for people who don't have it because I know it didn't stay at the top. There's not a whole lot in the Discord yet. I'm like in the process of making it, but I'm hoping to use it to keep everybody updated on what's going on the streams and everything, but also for a place to chat, maybe have some watch parties. We'll see how it goes.
Great.
Sounds
There we go.
good.
All right.
Okay. Good night, guys.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Good night.